Hello YouTube. Hello all the Discords. Apologies that I'm so late, but I am always late, so it's part of tradition, if anything. Also, my hair is looking kind of fire today, I'm not gonna lie. Okie dokie, let's get everybody back on my screen. All of those lovely things. Oh, I can just do this. Oh, perfect. Okay, brilliant. Fab, welcome everybody to the Trans Network Voice Modification Workshop. Let me adjust my camera ever so slightly. Perfect. And we'll go a little bit that way. Hells yeah. Okay, yes, welcome everybody to the workshop. We're going to be going over the full process of voice modification, whether you're masculizing, feminizing, whatever it is that you're doing, this will have all of it. Cool. YouTube, again, sorry I was so late. Oh wow, I was really late today. One day I will be like at least only 5 minutes late. You know, that's the goal. Music is way quieter in Discord, but it's still present. That'll do. Boo. Your microphone audio levels are quite low on stream. Let's fix that real quick. Audio. Let's just boost you right up. Okay, that should be better for the stream now. Fab. Okie dokie. So, for those that find themselves a little bit confused, we are currently in, how many? 4 different Discords. So all the Discords that are currently like participating and have volunteered to allow me to run these workshops for you. So we have a Rainbow Library, we have Diamond's Trans Server, we have Trans Voice, and of course we have Trans Network. Trans Network being my own server. So welcome everybody. Okay, let's go. So a few workshop rules and etiquette. This is like slightly squiff. Okay, I think that looks better. I think that's better. I can't tell anymore. Okay, this is applying to people in the Discords. So make sure you're being respectful to your learning environment. I don't want people randomly shouting stuff out. There'll be relevant points where you can like participate and like use your voice and use what I'm teaching you. But if we can avoid just random interruptions, then that would be really good. It will help to make sure that everybody's able to learn. Also be respectful of your fellow attendees. I don't want anybody starting fights in chats. It's never happened, but it's worth saying. Also make sure that when you're criticizing people and like giving feedback on people's voice, you always make sure that it's something actionable. So I don't want anything like even saying like your voice sounds femme to me or your voice sounds masc. That's not really very actionable. It's not good advice. I want to avoid those sorts of things because really that end goal should be their own estimation, not other people's. If you're ever in doubt in terms of feedback, just leave it to me. That's why I'm here. And obviously, you know, be nice about each other's voices. I don't want anybody like insulting anybody. That's way over the line. But that should be pretty obvious. Lastly, make sure we're staying on topic. So if we do have some, or during the portions where like you will be able to unmute and different parts where we can all participate and stuff, make sure we're staying on topic. So I don't need a big rant about something that's happening IRL. No big rants about what's happening in the video game you're playing right now, whatever it is. Keep things on topic. So we're talking about voice. Voice is the topic. Keep your questions to do with changing your voice. And yeah, cool. Okie dokie. And we will have an open forum section at the end. So if there are questions that you have that don't get covered during this, then there'll be a specific section where you can ask any questions you have about anything voice related. And I'll be taking one-on-ones with audience members. So stick around to the end if you're looking for some one-on-one feedback. Cool. Okie dokie. Or like if there's something in particular that you're struggling with, then wait till the end and I'll be happy to just one-on-one with you for a little bit. Also, drink plenty of water during this. Okie dokie. So, who am I? My name's Zara. Pleased to meet you all. I'm the owner of and the dedicated voice coach for Trans Network. Trans Network is my community. So we have the YouTube. Links are all there if you wanted to just, like manually type them out. But also in the YouTube live streams description, there's links to those things. In the whatever I'm streaming to you right now with regards to the Discord. So like if it's Zara's 1-2, click on that. In my profile, I have links to everything. Or if it's Zara's 1-4 or whatever it is. Links to everything everywhere, basically. And they're below me on the screen as well. But yes, so I'm the owner of Trans Network, and I'm the sole voice teacher for Trans Network. Started off as my Discord and has built out from there. So yeah, join all of those things if you're wanting all of that. I've been hosting these workshops since August of 2024, and I started teaching August 2024, and then I started teaching in October of 2024. If you're wanting lessons with me, then you are welcome to book them. Just head over to the Discord. There's a little like one-on-one lessons channel where you can book those in. Private lessons are £20 per lesson, and they are just a private VC with you and me. And the public lessons are completely free. Public lessons are ones where other people in the Discord can listen into the lesson. It's also live streamed, so the YouTube chat can listen in. For some video, or for some lessons, if I think they're going to be really useful for other people, I'll make them into a YouTube video, which can be uploaded onto my YouTube. So that's the difference between public lessons and private lessons. Anything else I'm supposed to mention here? Also, this is all funded by the Ko-fi. So these workshops are brought to you by the people that help out at Ko-fi. If you want to help out and you want to support us financially, head to the Ko-fi, kofi.com/transnetwork. Okie dokie. Who am I not? This bit's really important. I'm not a medical professional. I have no medical qualifications. And I cannot diagnose you with anything. Nothing we're doing is medical treatment. Okay? Nothing is anything relating to medicine in any way at all. All right? I'm not helping you with a condition. I'm not treating you for anything. I'm never diagnosing you with anything. The closest we ever get to a diagnosis is if I hear something that is just alarming to me, I might just recommend you speak to a doctor. That doesn't mean that you have something. It's not a diagnosis, again. It's the exact same as... Oh, can we make sure we're muted, please? Somebody's getting some audio leak. Yeah, it's the exact same as like your parent or your friend telling you, hey, maybe you should go speak to a doctor about this. That's as much as it is, okay? Cool. Yes, okay, good. All right, let's get into things. So, first section, some basics about the voice. Maintaining vocal health is obviously really important, so make sure that we are staying hydrated. Hydration is going to be really important for maintaining good mucus levels. Why is my phone just gone off? Has my phone just died? Oh, I forgot to plug it in. Sorry, guys. You'll have to do without my camera for the next minute or so. I will have that not being a thing soon, hopefully. Yeah, camera will be back in like a minute. Yes, staying hydrated, really, really important. Hydration helps us maintain our mucus production in our vocal tract. As gross as it sounds, mucus is really important for your vocal tract. It helps protect things, and you need that protection. Hydration also helps with keeping things nice and mobile, nice and limber, so they can move around nicely. And yeah, hydration, very important. It's like any muscle in your body. You need hydration to be able to power that muscle. Okay. Keeping relaxed. Keeping relaxed is really important for voice work because we don't want any strain or tension. Generally, if you're relaxed, things are going to be closer to correct, or at least you're never going to be right if you're not relaxed. Okay. People often have issues where they feel that their voice can't move very much. They're very like stuck with their voice. Those are all issues of not being relaxed enough. Yes, they are. There you go. Sorry about that. I don't know why he needs my car keys. Yes, keeping relaxed, very important for all those things I just covered. And it'll also mean that you are able to move around more with your voice. Again, more limber. That's going to be a common theme you'll see here. Warm-ups. Warm-ups are also really important. We'll go over what warm-ups we'll be doing in particular as we go through the workshop. But generally what warm-ups are providing you with is an increase in blood flow to the vocal tract. By increasing your blood flow, that means that all the resources that your vocal tract needs are being provided to your vocal tract. That includes that hydration. So you're going to be hydrated sooner if you do some vocal warm-ups. And your camera should be arriving again in just a second. Boom. Yes, so warm-ups, very good, providing that blood flow. It's kind of like warming up any muscle. Again, you're using tiny little muscles for producing sound and for manipulating that sound. So it's really important to be warmed up and to keep things nice and healthy for going into stuff, especially because like the stuff you're doing, while it shouldn't be very exerting, and you should be able to be totally relaxed for it, while you're learning things, people often make mistakes. So it's good to be nice and warmed up in case you do anything a little bit too extreme with your voice. You're going to be much safer when you're warmed up, and the amount of movement you can get in different areas is going to be much greater after warming up. Okay? Again, things are more limber, they can move around a lot more. Okay, and lastly, have fun with it. It's really important with voice work that we are just having a bit of fun. Again, it helps us keep relaxed. It helps us not to like tunnel vision super hardcore, especially when like dysphoria is a thing for people. Just trying to like take a step away from the gendering of things and just having fun with the individual elements that we're tweaking. It will really help you to make good progress, and it will really help you to like not have those negative feelings that can come along with some of the some of the more gendered parts of your voice, I suppose. So yeah, try to relax with it, try to have some fun with it. The more you're having fun with it, the more you're going to practice. So yeah, always have fun. Okay, things to avoid. So these first ones really don't matter so much, okay? It's only the last ones I actually care about that much, but it's worth mentioning these things anyway. So things to avoid: spicy foods. Spicy foods contain a molecule called capsaicin. Capsaicin is a mild irritant for the vocal tract. So if you've ever had like a chili and then you started coughing afterwards, that's that capsaicin irritating your vocal tract. Okay, not a super big deal. Just don't do it don't have big chilies right before doing your voice work. Okay. Caffeine dehydrates you. It's a diuretic, and it also you're eating jalapenos right now. Yeah, maybe not the best time for jalapenos. Yeah, caffeine is also a mild irritant, so it's going to be dehydrating you, and it's going to have that mild irritation effect. Again, super not a big deal. Just don't have like a Red Bull right now. Okay. Sugar dehydrates you. It's not a diuretic; it just dehydrates you. So it's harder for the moisture to leave your blood and enter your vocal tract, which goes back to all the hydration things we were talking about before. So again, avoid sugar right before doing voice work. What you do throughout the rest of the day, I don't care about. It's just right before doing voice work. And dairy is a bit of a weird one. Dairy will just increase your mucus production. I did mention earlier that mucus production is a good thing, but dairy will just make you continually produce in excess. All right. So again, don't have a bunch of dairy right now. Don't have it right before doing a big sit down of voice work. What you do through the day, I do not care about. So all of those 4 things I just mentioned, just avoid them right before doing a bunch of voice work. Throughout your day, you can do whatever you want with regards to them. Now, smoking and vaping. It's going to be very obvious that smoking and vaping damages your vocal tract. It will make things harder for you to modify your voice. Especially smoking right before or vaping right before doing some voice work is definitely a bad idea. There are smokers and vapors who have successfully modified their voice. It just makes things harder. So just keep in mind that you are making things harder for yourself if you are smoking while you're trying to change your voice. If that's motivation to quit, amazing. I would love that for you. But it doesn't mean that you absolutely cannot do this as a smoker or vapor. As I said, it just makes things harder. Strain, pain, discomfort, and tension. I put those all into one category. Essentially what I'm saying is if you are feeling a direct, like you can point to it, sharp pain somewhere, that's you doing some damage to your vocal tract, okay? And you should stop straight away. Whatever it is, you want to be avoiding that thing, all right? Now, damaging your vocal tract isn't actually that big of a deal in the short term. You just take some time off, spend a day or two recovering, and you're back, and it's totally fine. If you were to continually do it though, continue experiencing that pain and pushing through it, then we can have some quite serious things happening. We can have some vocal nodes forming, and as it continues, those nodes can turn into polyps, which are like a big sac on your vocal tract, and they have to be removed surgically. Okay, so they are quite a big deal. I've never had a student have it happen before, and hopefully it never will happen. This is why I make these little mentions, so that we can be avoiding this sort of situation. So yeah, do not be my first student to have a major vocal injury, okay? If you're feeling pain, stop. You're doing something wrong. You're always doing something wrong. If you feel pain, there is never a situation where you should just be pushing through the pain, okay? It won't get better. It'll only get worse. So pain, always a bad sign. If you're feeling general discomfort, people often describe it as the same feeling as like the day after being in the gym. That's some vocal fatigue. Super not a big issue. It just means you've done a lot and your vocal tract is now tired. You just need to take a break, take a little rest, and you'll be completely fine. Don't try to push through it, because then again, we move towards risk of vocal injuries. But if you are feeling fatigued, just take some time off until you're not feeling fatigued anymore, and you'll be completely fine. I will probably be fatigued by the end of this workshop because they usually go quite long. Next morning, I'll be completely fine again. So yeah, not a big deal. Strain or tension. These are a particular thing of a particular muscle tensing up, okay? This can be a muscle that affects your voice, like something in the actual vocal tract itself tensing. You're going to hear that tension, okay? And it's never going to be bringing you to where you want. So if you feel something tensing up, remove that tension, because it's not going to be producing the sound you want it to produce. Also, you could have tensions in areas that don't affect your vocal tract at all. So for example, while I was feminizing my voice, I felt some tension around the back of my neck. It was just a random thing my body was doing because it wasn't sure what to do. So yeah, if you're feeling tension, if you're feeling muscles tensing up, you should try to remove that tension as best as you can. Ultimately, talking with your fem voice or your talking with your modified voice should feel the exact same as talking with your modified voice, okay? There shouldn't really be any like physical sensations different between the two. They're both just as easy as one another. So I can talk like this for like 5 hours straight. I can talk like this for like 5 hours straight. Neither of them are more difficult than the other, okay? If anything, my fem voice is probably a little bit easier for me now because it's what I use every day. So yeah, none of this is like effortful, okay? That's really important. Okay, any questions about what we've just covered? Because that's a bit of an info dump. Also, for all the chats, okay, really important that you are asking questions if it's anything that is unclear to you, or if there's anything that you feel I didn't adequately explain. Like, I really want a culture of the chats being active because it lets me know where you guys are at. I'm kind of shooting in the dark when I just see chats that aren't moving. So make sure you're like participating in chat and giving me feedback of like, where are you at, you know? Is stuff making sense? Are there any questions? That's what I need. Cool. Okay. Good stuff. Oh, I should mention, because I totally forgot to mention it earlier. We've got a giveaway going on right now. If you're looking for lessons and you can't afford lessons, then head over to the YouTube and participate in the YouTube chat. We've got a giveaway of a package of 6 free lessons worth £120 total. So 6 private lessons, and it'll be giving away to one chatter, essentially. So as you're in chat, you'll be gradually earning points. Excuse me. Yeah, as you're in the YouTube chat, you'll gradually be earning points, and those points on the 28th of May, which is a Wednesday, we're going to be doing a big giveaway where you can spend those points to buy tickets into the giveaway. So 1 ticket is going to be the winning ticket. The more tickets you buy, the more likely you are to be the one that gets the winning ticket. Hopefully that makes sense. So like your odds increase the more points you have, essentially. So yeah, make sure you are in the YouTube chat if you are wanting those things. You just need to be participating in YouTube chat and chatting regularly, and stuff will happen. The points are just built up passively, and then every so often I'll do like a raffle or something to increase the amount of points being given away. Okie dokie, fab. Let's keep going. So how does the voice actually work? Okay. So if you look at the little diagram there, the power source filter model, this is going to be like a rough, simplified model for how the voice functions. Essentially, I want you to imagine your lungs are the source of power, okay? Specifically the air in your lungs, all right? That's for power, or like for fuel for your voice. As that air continues up your vocal tract, it enters this little box of cartilage, all right? You can feel it, it's kind of hard. The Adam's apple is a part of that cartilage, okay? It's just this big box of cartilage. It's called the larynx, all right? Some people call it the voice box because it's just a box of cartilage. Inside of your larynx are vocal folds, all right? Some people call these the vocal cords. They're what start producing some sound, all right? So they're going to vibrate, open and closed really, really, really quickly, like, you know, potentially like between 150 to 200 or maybe like 250 open closures a second, depending on the pitch you're at. They could be way more than that, by the way. That's just like normal variation, I suppose, for normal talking. They can go like they could be up in like 400, 500 though. They get super, super fast. But yeah, they're going super fast. And as they vibrate really quickly, they start vibrating the air, okay? That same air that's going up from your lungs through your vocal tract, okay? They intersect, the air intersects with your vocal folds, and as they're vibrating, the air starts to vibrate as it continues upwards, all right? Now that vibration, when we then hear like air vibrating, when that then enters our ears, we perceive that as sound, all right? So now we have the source of sound, okay? Those vocal folds have created sound. So that sound continues to move up your vocal tract and it bounces around the vocal tract, okay? It resonates through it. As it resonates through just the different parts of your vocal tract, it starts taking on the shape of that vocal tract, all right? So different shapes, as you move your tongue, that's part of you changing the shape of your vocal tract. And all the little different movements that we make as we talk are all shaping that sound into words, into letters, and all of that schnazziness. So if you look at that little GIF at the bottom, that's basically what I'm talking about. You can see the air current coming in from the bottom. That's that power. You can see the sound being created by those vocal folds opening and closing. That's the source. And then the filter is you shaping that sound as it reverberates and resonates through your vocal tract, okay? You can see it bouncing around this person's vocal tract, all right? And eventually comes out as your voice. So that's how your voice functions, okay? Now, how does testosterone affect this? First of all, it's worth mentioning that estrogen has no effect on your vocal tract whatsoever. It does absolutely nothing, okay? All the changes that happen that create our masculine and feminine voices are all due to testosterone, all right? And just different levels of testosterone exposure. Cis women do have a small amount of testosterone. Cis men have a lot more testosterone, or I should say AFABs have a small amount of testosterone exposure, and AMABs have a larger amount of testosterone exposure, assuming that they haven't had hormone blockers or something like that, okay? So, boo. Yeah, so some of the things that happen, this is why children have their own distinct voices. They don't just sound feminine, they sound like children, because they haven't had any testosterone exposure. So that's what's up with that. So, some of the things that happen. Firstly, your vocal folds thicken, okay? Those same things that are producing that sound, they thicken up, all right? That produces a meatier sound, a buzzier sound. It starts going a little bit more like this, okay? So now my voice has more of a buzz going onto it. Now this is sounding a bit more like fatter, buzzier. This is that vocal fold thickening up, okay? We then also have the vocal fold lengthening. That's gonna give you access to lower pitches. I'm already at a pretty lower pitch, but that's giving you those lower pitches, okay? And now we then have that larynx lengthening, okay? The larynx drops down a bit, it descends, and it lengthens and expands outwards as well. So that brings us down to this kind of a voice now. So all of these things are what go into masculizing a voice through testosterone exposure. Okay? So all of these things we are either going to learn to emulate if we are AFAB and we're trying to masculize our voice, or we're trying to reverse if we're trying to feminize our voice. If you're androgenizing, all you're doing is going from one to the other. So if you're androgenizing, you are either masculizing or feminizing, depending on where you started, and you just stop sooner. Okay, but all of these things we can behaviorally change. Any questions about that and just what testosterone is actually doing and how your voice functions before we go into how to change things? And yes, OMG is correct. You can change things quite a lot. Friend found it crazy when you mentioned what estrogen actually does. Yeah, but it does absolutely nothing. Yeah, absolutely. This is why trans women have no vocal change from HRT, because estrogen doesn't do anything. And all the changes that happen as a result of testosterone are permanent changes. The only way you could change them back again would be through some kind of surgery. And right now, surgery is a very limited option. You can change some of these things, like vocal fold thickening you can reverse. So you can make them thinner with surgery. Vocal fold lengthening, I believe you can also reverse. The larynx change, though, that there currently isn't a surgery that can do that, that can reverse that. There is an experimental one right now, but I haven't heard of any like furtherness of that. So maybe one day, but as for the moment, it's not possible to have the larynx shift going back again through surgery. Question, are the vocal folds inside the part of the larynx that travels up and down, or are they stuck near the bottom of your neck? No, they're inside of the larynx. So the whole larynx moves up and down as a single unit. It's attached to a bone called the hyoid bone, which is further up, like in between your throat and your mouth. So your larynx is attached to your hyoid bone, and your hyoid bone is what moves up. So the entire larynx moves up together, okay? And your vocal folds are inside of your larynx, so they move up with it, okay? They're like attached to your larynx from the inside, okay? So the whole structure as one unit is what moves up. And as it moves up, it also contracts, okay? And it gets smaller because it is just a smaller space as it goes up. So that's why it has to descend to then expand, all right? That expansion, by the way, is why in people that have been exposed to testosterone, why you can see their Adam's apple, because that expansion pushes the larynx outward, and the Adam's apple is part of the larynx. It's the thyroid cartilage. So as it all expands, you can now start to see it. Everybody has an Adam's apple, regardless of children have Adam's apples. Okay, literally everybody does. You just can't necessarily see them unless you've had enough testosterone exposure. When you raise the pitch of your voice, is that mainly the vocal folds vibrating faster? Yeah. So the speed at which your vocal folds vibrate is pitch, literally. So if you've looked at like hertz before, a measurement of pitch, for example, 200 hertz, that means that your vocal folds have gone closed, open, closed. That cycle of closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed, ... Those cycles, 200 of those in 1 second means 200 hertz. Or really 200 hertz means 200 opening closings in 1 second, all right? So the faster they do that process, the higher the pitch, all right? Cool. Any other questions? You notice you're correcting vocal cords to folds. Are they synonyms? They're basically synonyms. You can say vocal cords if you want to. By the way, it's chords as in like a chord of muscle rather than like a piano chord or like a music chord. So C-O-R-D. Vocal folds is a more technically accurate term. So the actual biological term for what they are is vocal folds, because they are a like a fold of a few different things really. You have muscle inside, and then a fold of, we'll just say a fold of mucosa, and like some membranes and stuff, and a ligament as well. So there's quite a lot to the vocal folds, but the point is they're like a folded over thing. Kind of like if I can't follow them with my fingers that much, but they're kind of like that, okay? They've been very open and closed. all right, without fingers, you know, like a folded unit. So that's why they're called the vocal folds. And they just look like flat planes, essentially. Yeah, cool. Any other questions about your vocal tract? No questions. Okay, let's keep going then. So, okay, what do we do about these changes to your vocal tract due to testosterone? Or how do we emulate them? Okay, first things first, softies. All right, these are your warm-ups. These won't change your voice at all, but what they will do is they will teach you some good vocal habits to keep things safe and keep things hygienic. They will also do all of those warm-up things where they're going to increase the blood flow, as I mentioned earlier. They're going to help loosen things up and get things moving. They also have the added bonus of curing morning voice. So if you're having an issue with morning voice one particular morning, all that's happening is that mucus that I mentioned earlier has been building up overnight. Normally, we swallow down that mucus and then it gets digested and whatever. I know that's gross, but that's how your body works. But when we're sleeping, we're not swallowing. So, and a lot of our vocal tract, all of the stuff is called these cilia. It's some of the cells along the inside of your inside of your throat really, but along your vocal tract as well. These cilia push up that mucus so it can then be swallowed. But they kind of go to sleep as well, so they're not doing their thing. So all that's really happening is you're producing more and more mucus. That mucus is getting dust coming into it as you breathe, which is normal. But all of that is just building up. So you've got this claggy, gross mucus that's all building up and you're getting more and more of it and it's thickening up overnight. So when you come to the morning, nothing can move very well. The mucus itself is darkening the sound. So everything's just struggling to move, okay? Doing some softies increases the blood flow, stretches things out, gets things moving. It gets the cilia waking up because of that extra blood flow, which in turn makes that starts clearing out all of that mucus. So a minute or two of softies and morning voice will be completely gone. All right. So yeah, if you struggle with morning voice, softies will fix it. Okay. What are softies? Softies are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. It's a big scary word, but don't worry about it. Semi-occluded, all that means is a partial blockage. Vocal tract, you know what the vocal tract is now. Exercise, you know what an exercise is. So we're doing something where there's a partial blockage somewhere in the vocal tract. Okay? The idea behind this is, we mentioned that power source filter model earlier. That air is pushing through your vocal folds, and that's part of how they vibrate. So that opening is actually the air pushing through them. All right? Now, because of that, that means your vocal folds are under a lot of air pressure. All right, all of that air coming up through your lungs, that's a lot of air pressure that your vocal folds are under. So much so that it pushes through them, okay? Hence you're able to make sound. So all of that pressure means that if we were to try to stretch our vocal folds around and get them moving while we're under all of that pressure, it's going to make it more likely for you to have injuries. It's going to make it more likely for you to just struggle. So what can we do about this? If we have a partial blockage somewhere at the front of the vocal tract, like the mouth or the lips, now we have a barrier that airflow is going to hit and it will rebound backwards, okay? Not all of it, because we're still creating a sound, but some of it will rebound backwards. Because some of it is rebounding backwards, now all of that upwards pressure on your vocal folds is going to get cancelled out by that backwards pressure. So we have upwards pressure, backwards pressure, and the backwards pressure is cancelling out most of the upwards pressure. So now the end result is your vocal folds are under less pressure. Now you don't need to understand that explanation. If all of that went over your head, it's okay. Point is, as we do these softies, your vocal folds are under less pressure. If you can understand that, that's perfectly sufficient, okay? So, how do we actually do this? By all means, ask me any questions, by the way. I know these explanations can be a little bit tricky the first time around, but as you sort of think about it and imagine it all, hopefully it'll get easier. But do ask me lots of questions, okay? So, how do we do this? There's a few different things that work well. That graph basically shows you the order of how well they work, okay? That intraoral pressure on the left side on the y-axis, that's the pressure we're talking about. So something, blockage at the front of the vocal tract means more pressure in your mouth, which means more pressure going back, which means a more effective softy. So the ones I typically recommend for people are going to be the, so literally like the phoneme for the, okay? Lip trills are good. Blowing a raspberry is good. And then the best one, I don't have a straw with me. I have a straw that's a bit gross. Am I down to be a bit gross for you guys? Ugh. No, there's a hair on it. I'm not going to be a bit gross. I will just describe to you how this works. Essentially, take a container, a vessel of water. Ideally, you don't want it totally full because we're going to be blowing some bubbles in it. And if you're going to be blowing some bubbles, you're going to be creating a lot of splashing. It can be full if you want it to. It can be a glass if you want it to. It could be a tumbler if you want it to. But keep in mind your mess and just awkwardness for yourself, okay? I recommend bottles, and I recommend them about halfway full. That way, less cleanup to do afterwards, all right? But that's all up to you. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your straw and you're going to plonk it in the water. You want it about an inch or two down. You'll know if it's at the right level because you'll feel that you're blowing into water, but like it won't be like zero resistance, but it won't be so difficult that it's like a problem. Okay, you want a nice balance. Okay, the more you lower the straw into the water, the more water you're pushing against. All right, so you then start blowing your bubbles and create sounds during that. Essentially, all you're doing is going ooh, but into the straw. All right, that's going to blow bubbles, which means you're blowing into the bubbles. So the barrier we mentioned earlier is the water itself. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you need me to explain that more, please do let me know. I've written those in the order, or I guess reverse order, of how good they are. So the phoneme is going to be these are all good ones, by the way, but in reverse order of like I'm happy with you doing any of these, but bubble phonations are going to be the best, and the is going to be the like worst, but still very good. Okay, if it's not like as good as those, I've just not included it on the list. Okie dokie. So, do you have to raise or lower your larynx while doing them? It doesn't matter at all. None of any of our like voice modifications for later on matter at all for this. You can do whatever modifications you want. You can not do any modifications. None of it matters for this bit at all. Okay? So, you'll start doing your whatever it is, bubble phonation, one of the trills labeled, okay? And you're going to start moving slowly around your pitch range, all right? And you're going to slowly expand, all right? So we'll start with a very small pitch movement, both up and down, bit of a bigger movement, bit of a bigger movement. Keep going until eventually you hit the max of your pitch range, all right? So it'll be like this. And so on and so forth until you hit your max range. All right. Then I like to do an extra little stretch at the end where we do a little pitch siren. Okay. So going up, it'll sound like this. So that's going to the top of your pitch range and doing a siren. And then we do the same going down and doing a siren, okay, at the bottom of your pitch range, just to give a last little stretch. And all of this is just we're going for as much stretching as possible while we're under that lower pressure vocal fold environment. Okay, so all the different ways that we can stretch them out by just accessing all the different pitches. So, and when for our brand new, if you're brand new to voice work, then this is where I want you to start. You'll be continuing this through all of your vocal journey, but just do this if you're brand new. I would want you doing this at least twice a day, really 3 times a day. And just for the length that we do them, when we do our demo in a second, is completely sufficient. Anything I need to mention before we give them a go? In terms of that pitch movement, it's the same for all of them. Cool. Any questions about any of that before we all give it a go? And heads up, we're all going to be trying one together, and then you can do the rest muted on your own. In a minute, though. Not yet. We'll wait for any questions first so people know what they're doing. I see some typing, so I'll wait for that question. Oh, some things you might struggle with these. If you're doing the ball phonations, probably you're just not going to have any struggles. The water really helps you stabilize your pressures, which means that everything becomes super, super easy. So if you're struggling with any of these, go for the ball phonations for a bit. They will help you to get everything like correct, okay? But the other ones, if you get it wrong, nothing bad's going to happen. It'll just, you'll hear something go wrong. So either the lips will stop trilling. No. Okay, that was me doing like too much lip pressure, or like that was I'm struggling to do this where the lips stop trilling. That was too little pressure with the lips, or if your phonation cuts out. Anything like that, that's you having some issues with your vocal folds, okay? All of these things, just play around with the lip trills. The lip trills are really easy to play with. They all function the same way, the lip trill, the V trill, the raspberry trill. But the lip trills are probably the easiest one for most people. And you can really tweak and play with them. So like play with different like amounts of air you're putting in. Play with different efforts you're putting into it. Play with different pressures on your lips. Once you get it sounding like mine, you've got it sounding right. It being wrong, again, just the sound will cut out or your lips will stop trilling, something like that. If you're really struggling to get it right, just go for the ball phonations. They will, you could, like, it's so hard to get them wrong. Cool. Is it better to have the straw lower in the water if you can handle the amount of pressure, of water pressure? So for what we're doing, it won't really give you much benefit. In theory, it is giving you benefit for doing like more extreme stuff, but all we're learning to do is just talk different. So we don't really need to build you up to anything more difficult than just talking. If you're wanting to sing though, or if you're a singer, then yeah, consider going to more and more pressures. Or if you're wanting to be like a live streamer like me, then you want to be talking for like 4 or 5 hours, then yeah, gradually go to lower and lower like depth of water to increase that water pressure. But for just what we're doing, we want enough that you can feel that pressure, but not so much that it's difficult in any way. Okay? Just you can feel the resistance. Okie dokie. So let's all do a quick lip trill, V trill, whatever you want to do, whichever of these you're doing. Okay? Let's do one all together real quick. So everybody unmute. Everybody get yourselves unmuted that wants to participate. Oh, thank you for the follow.
Azazel subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, thank you so much for the subscribe. I super appreciate that. Hells yeah. If you're wanting all of the, because we do like live streams during the week as well. So Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we do some live streams. And that's when all the public lessons are. So if you're wanting those, subscribe to YouTube. Cool. Yes. Okay. Everybody get yourselves unmuted. It's down to unmute. And we're all going to do these together. Okay. So decide which one you're doing. And yeah, I'll wait for this question to come through. And then we'll go for it. Just because I see some typing. Okay, we'll just do it all while... Oh, there we go. If you're unmuted, does it show up on the YouTube channel? Yes. So anybody that unmutes now, YouTube can hear you, okay? So if you're down with that, then unmute and we'll all go together. So 3, 2, 1, do as I do. Nice, brilliant everybody. Okay, remute. Okay, that was brilliant. I didn't hear anybody messing it up, so that's really, really good. Well done. So now I'm going to do a whole bunch of them, and you can just follow me muted, okay? Because we're going to go through a whole bunch, all right? So. Make sure you're muted for this bit, by the way. And then up to your max ranges. Okay, and now we're going to do last couple where we do the pitch sirens. All right. And then the same thing going down. Okay, and that is your softies. So if you're struggling with morning voice, just do exactly what we just did and your morning voice will go away. Oh, some good stretches. If you are brand new to voice work, I want you starting on this. So do exactly what we just did for the first couple of weeks or like week or two for your voice training, and try to do these at least twice a day, really 3 or 4 times a day. I don't want you doing them any longer than like 5 minutes because you're really not getting much benefit from there. You're just going to start fatiguing yourself. So yeah. Also, for the rare vocal underdoers that may be among you, because they're slightly higher in the trans population than they are in the general population, there are some people that are vocal underdoers. If you talk for like less than an hour a day, there's a chance that you might be a vocal underdoer. A good way to know is if you can't talk for like 20 minutes, or like if you're in just a conversation and you find your voice just getting tired just in the conversation, there's a decent chance you might be a vocal underdoer. Vocal underdoers are people that talk so little that their vocal muscles have started to atrophy a little bit, okay? They've started to weaken. So just for those people only, this is going to help you build up some muscle to bring you back to the muscle level of the general population. For everything else in voice work, we're not building muscle, we're building a skill and we're learning how to use our muscles. But just for vocal underdoers, this one specific thing, you are building muscle. It's the only people that are building muscle, and it's the only situation where you're building muscle. So yeah. Cool. Okie dokie. I saw a message earlier that I feel like just disappeared. So sorry if I missed your message there. Cool. Oh yeah, somebody asked a bit of the benefits of this. Again, it's the benefits we mentioned earlier of doing warm-ups. So increasing the blood flow to the vocal tract, which is going to provide all the resources, including hydration to your vocal tract, which helps with all of those things. And it's also just a warm-up like every other warm in your body, so it helps move those muscles and stretches them out, okay? That's the whole point of softies. So yeah, if you're brand new, several times a day, even if you're not brand new, have these for every time you do. If you're doing longer than like a minute of voice work, do some softies first. Even if it's just a really brief, like 30-second softies, so long as you just bring them in a little bit to warm you up a bit before doing your voice work, your voice practice, then that's going to help you. If you're doing like a big sit-down voice practice, definitely do softies first, just to make sure you're keeping everything nice and safe and nice and warmed up. Cool. Okie dokie. Any last questions about softies before we move on? Was anything not clear? Did anything not make sense to people? As I said before, we want lots of questions. So if there's anything you're unsure of at all, do not be afraid to ask your question. We really like a culture of people asking questions here. You'll notice, if you stick around these voice workshops, you'll notice that the people asking most questions progress the fastest, because they're the ones that are really engaging in voice. So definitely ask your questions. Anything you're unsure on, anything you're just curious about, do ask. Because yeah, if you have a question and you're nervous about asking, probably someone else is also nervous about asking the same question. So if you ask, you'll be helping them out as well. So yeah, just questions are good. I cannot say that enough. Questions are good. I love the people that ask questions. Okie dokie. So let's keep going. Perceptual weight or glottal quotient. This is going to be the first thing we actually start doing to modify the sound of our voice. I mentioned earlier how a thicker vocal fold, or thicker vocal folds, plural, create a buzzier kind of a voice, okay? So now that I have this aspect to my voice, this is that vocal thickness, all right? Now we could describe this as sounding heavier, buzzier, thicker, fatter, all of these sorts of things. That heavier is generally what the voice world uses to describe this sound, okay? So because people say it sounds a bit heavier and this sounds a bit lighter, we have this term that's come about called perceptual vocal weight. Basically just it sounding like a particular weight, all right? Now what's actually happening here is you're having a change to your glottal quotient, all right? Imagine, I said earlier, we have our vibrating vocal folds. Imagine that as a cycle from closed, open to closed again, being one cycle, okay? Those individual cycles can have a bit of variation in how they function, all right? Let's say 100% is the cycle, okay? That's like the total. We can have a percentage of it as closed and a percentage of it as open. So let's say we are 30% of the time we spend in the cycle, we are open, and 70% of the time we are closed. That's going to create a closed quotient, all right? Or in reverse, it would be a more open quotient. So it's just like the ratio of how much time we spend open versus closed in an individual cycle, all right? That's the actual mechanics of what's happening. So as your vocal folds thicken, they start using a more closed quotient. They spend more time closed because there's more mass there. So they spend more time closed during each cycle, whereas thinner vocal folds tend to spend less time closed during each cycle, resulting in a more open quotient. You don't need to worry about mechanics too much. Just when you're exploring different communities, especially if you're over in like linguistics use terms, quotient terms. I've seen Seattle Voice Lab use quotient terms sometimes. So if you hear open quotient, you're thinking a lighter perceptual vocal weight. If you hear closed quotient, you're thinking a heavier perceptual vocal weight. Okay, it's just a description of the mechanics. So what can we do to change this? Now, your perceptual vocal weight, your quotient, helpfully is linked to your pitch. If you imagine, like, just think about if we're going really, really quickly with those opening and closings, those glottal cycles, if we're going super quickly, then we can't really spend much time closed because we need to go so fast, all right? Or at least it's harder to go fast if we're spending a lot of time during the closed bit, okay? You really want to be going fast. Like, literally do this with your hands, and you'll notice that the open portion is longer than the closed portion if you try to go quicker. Or if you try to slow it down, you end up with more of a closed portion, okay? So, yeah, higher pitches is the exact same, all right? As we go higher in pitch, it's easier for us to go higher in pitch with a more open quotient. So we can use this, okay? And the same thing for going down. If we go lower pitches, that's going to encourage you to go for a more closed quotient, a heavier perceptual vocal weight. So we can use this to help us teach ourselves to go for that lighter sound, all right? So we'll go for the feminizing version first and then the masculizing version. I finally renamed this, by the way, for the people that are new, for the people that have been here for a few of these workshops. I finally got a good name, okay? So pitch hill, all right? We'll start off with a really fat, buzzy, low pitch, okay? And then we're gonna slide that pitch up and we're gonna lighten as we slide up, okay? If you're struggling to lighten, just keep going higher. Eventually you will end up in a lighter vocal weight. Even if you go up, all the way up into, like, some people call it head voice or falsetto, the proper name is M2, okay? So if you're going all the way over to here, this is you talking in M2, If you do that, that's completely fine. Just make sure you're back into your normal voice, your M1, by the end of the drill, okay? So we're going to go up until we find that lightness, and then we're going to start going back down again, back to where we were, but keeping that lightness, okay? It'll sound like this. This is the M2, by the way. And now I'm back into M1, where I'm using my normal voice, but I have that gentleness, okay? So I don't sound like this anymore. I sound like this, okay? If I was to bring things over here again to here, like if you've done no modifications, okay, it will be like this. Oh, sorry, this is weird for me. I don't use my mask voice very often. And now I have that gentleness to my voice, that lightness to my voice. My voice sounds kind of weird. You probably don't hear many people talking like this, but this has that lighter vocal weight. You can hear all of that buzziness has gone away. So again, if I go back over to here, now we have that buzziness back in. And now if I'm over here, we don't have that buzziness anymore. So again, for drillers. And now I don't have that buzziness anymore in my voice. Now, whenever you do this drill, I'm going back over to here. It's so much easier for me. When you do this drill, okay, make sure you always have a little bit of talking afterwards. So do your pitch hill, get to that light weight in your ordinary pitch, okay? It can be a little bit higher pitch if you want, but we're wanting to show that this can be done at lower pitches. So just go to your ordinary pitch, and then, yeah, go to your ordinary pitch and do some talking with that lighter weight, that lighter sounding voice. Make sure you're carrying it through into some talking, okay? If you struggle with this, usually people are going to drop a little bit of their modification when they go into talking, okay? So you might find some buzziness coming back in as you go into some talking. Just make sure you practice it and try to keep it nice and consistent. And yeah, that's perceptual vocal weight in terms of the feminizing, okay? For the masculizers, all right, we want more of that buzziness, okay? So we're going to do the complete opposite thing. We're going to do a pitch trough, okay? Reverse of a hill. So we're going to go down in our pitch, starting in a higher, lighter kind of a pitch. Yeah, start off in your higher, lighter bass sort of thing and start dragging that pitch down. As you drag it down, you'll find yourself, eventually you'll have to have a more close quotient, a heavier vocal weight. If you keep going down, you'll find that you enter what's called the grave extension of your M1, okay? Basically, the grave extension, you'll know you've hit it when you've hit it, okay? Because your voice goes weird, all right? You're going to have a whole bunch of vocal fry coming in. You're going to have a huge amount of close quotient, a really heavy vocal weight coming in, and things are going to feel really weird and sludgy and kind of odd, all right? It'll sound like this. So you can hear at some point, my voice just went weird, all right? That weirdness is called the grave extension. So we're going to go all the way down there. We're going to keep going as low as we possibly can. And getting us that low is going to get a really heavy weight. So then listen for that buzziness and try to drag that buzziness back up to your normal pitch, okay? You may find that the fry comes with it. That's completely fine. If you want to, as you get really good at this, like really quite good at this, then you can remove a fry if you want to. You can keep it if you want to as well. Fry is a completely optional thing. But early on, do not worry if a fry comes up with it. Just ignore it, all right? It's just going to come with it until you gain a better distinction between the two. All right? So the full drill sounds like this. And now I have that buzziness in my voice from that lower pitch, bring all that grave being dragged back up into my normal pitch range, okay? So I still have all of the things that come with a feminized voice right now. I've even boosted them up a bit just so you can really hear the buzziness coming through. If you're AFAB and you've just started with this first exercise, this is the sort of sound you're looking for, okay? So this is what's going to come with that pitch trough, okay? And again, if it sounds more like this is also totally fine. So like, if it sounds like this is also completely fine, okay? You can get rid of that fry later if you want to. Okay, so that's going to be your pitch trough for the masculizers. Now, the pitch hill or pitch trough, depending which way you're going, in my opinion, this is the best way to learn perceptual weight / glottal quotient. The reasoning for this is it works for everybody. Everybody gets lighter as they go higher in pitch, or everybody finds it easier to go to a higher pitch if they also go lighter, and everybody has to go to a more closed quotient, a heavier vocal weight as they go down. Eventually you reach a point where you can't go any lower unless you enter that grave extension, which will come with the extra weight, okay? So, yes, very useful, okay? I'm going to turn my light on because it's getting a bit dark in here. Cool, you can see me properly now. So yeah, that's how those drills work. There are some others we can do though, to quickly go over them. These are more like mimicry-based drills. Now, mimicry-based drills do not work for everybody. Do not worry if you struggle more with these next ones, okay? There's an infinite list of them because we could do all kinds of different things to help our mimicry. But here's just a couple of examples, okay? Some of the popular ones. So we have the ASMR voice versus sports announcer voice. So for lightening our vocal weight, we want to imagine that we're recording like an ASMR video, okay? For YouTube or whatever. We're specifically going for the softly spoken style of ASMR. So in a softly spoken ASMR video, we'll start talking like this. You have very, very gentle, very light, very soft kind of a voice. This is going to be very, very reminiscent of those ASMR videos. And this is going to be your lighter vocal weight. Now, this one does also come with a quieter volume. So if you then just increase the volume a little bit while still having that gentle, like, nature to your voice, okay? We don't want any, like, really buzzy, really alarming sounds going on. We just want that light, gentle vocal weight, okay? Then at the other end, we're going to have a sports announcer voice. Yeah, heck yeah, sports, things to do with sports. I don't know anything about sports. If you don't know anything about sports, then use the Wii Sports announcer, okay? Strike, batter out. What else is in Wii Sports? Nice shot, okay? Nice shot is a really good one, in my opinion. It really, really has a bunch of that weight in it, okay? Nice shot, if you do it right. Again, if that one doesn't vibe with you, that's completely fine. Another one you can try is the cooing at a baby / gross out of a baby. You can swap out baby for puppy or kitten or whatever you find cute, okay? Think of something cute, all right? So we're holding our cute thing in our arms, okay? I'm going to use baby for this example. So holding a baby in our arms, and we're just going to coo at the baby, okay? Cute baby, cute baby. Or if I was to go over here, oh, cute baby. Very nice baby. Okay? And then at the other end, imagine the baby has just been sick on you. Or like the puppy or kitten or whatever has just bitten you. Gross. Baby. Gross, gross, gross. Or like, gross. Baby, no. Okay? So we have that versus that or that versus that okay, so that's the sound you're comparing there. These can be difficult and they are unintuitive for some people. If these are super intuitive to you, then it's going to click like that and it's going to be a really good way to figure this out. But if it's not intuitive to you, then it's just not going to click. All right, the pitch ones are going to click for everybody. All right, and usually around the same kind of rate. But the other ones, just they'll vibe for particular people. If you're really struggling with this and you just can't figure it out, this only works for the feminizers, but we can use the yawn voice, okay? If you just go for a big yawn. Okay, and then we go into a voice from that yawn, okay? So this yawny kind of a voice, it has a very, very light vocal weight, all right? It doesn't have any of that buzziness ringing through it. But it also comes with locking you in that lowered larynx position. We'll go over more of that in the next bit. But the problem with this voice is just very inflexible. It only puts you into exactly how I sound right now, which it makes it difficult to then move other things. I would say, I cannot demonstrate this without actually yawning a whole bunch. I would say if you're using this, just use this as an initial exploration and then move into one of the other exercises just so that you know what you're aiming at, okay? Because this has a very rigid, it only has these specific qualities, hence there can't be a masculizing version because it just locks you into this one thing, okay? So that's the yawn voice if you're really, 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 really struggling, okay? Now, some common problems that can come with this, all right? These are usually just a conflation where somebody's gotten a little bit confused between two different things, okay? So first, breathiness. Breathiness is a different thing from a light vocal weight, all right? So if you're sounding like this is going to be a completely different tone to me doing this, all right? Now, if you're naturally a little bit breathy, which is what I'm doing right now, or it's like a normal amount of breathiness, if you're naturally a little bit breathy, that's completely fine. I'm going back to not breathy now. That's completely fine, but if you could turn it off just for learning this, just so you don't get confused, that's going to help you a lot, okay? And you can absolutely bring it back later into your vocal journey. Just make sure that when you're doing these practices, remove any breathiness just so you don't get too confused, and then by all means, bring it back again afterwards. So yeah, a light vocal weight is not breathiness. They are different things, okay? There's also something called hyperadduction. Basically, it's where we've gone for like so heavy that our vocal folds are like staying closed way more than they should be, and it makes it difficult to talk. You'll know you're doing this if you do the pitch trough. This is mainly going to be for the heavy people, the close quotient people. You'll know if you're doing the pitch trough, and then afterwards when you try to talk, it sounds a little bit strained, and you find that your breath, you've got like excess breath you need to like get rid of because you're not expelling enough air during your talking. So if you go like, I need to add the adduction. And now you're trying to talk like this, and you're really struggling to like get the air out. So you have to then, and then you're trying to do that. You have this really like stuck thing going on with your voice. Okay. This is going to be that hyperadduction. Now, the best way to remove this is to lean into it, okay? So if we want to go really hyperadducted, imagine that we're lifting a really heavy weight. This is like super, super hyperadducted right now. Okay? So imagine you're lifting a really heavy weight and you go back. Okay? And then try to go back again. All right? Move back and forth. Did the stream die? Oh, what's happening in trans voice? Hold on. I'm so sorry, people in trans voice. I don't know what happened. My Discord just disconnected. Give me a second to fix that for you. And now my camera's not coming on for you. Let me just check. Everybody else, so you guys are still good. Yeah, looks like everybody else is fine. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Sorry about that, guys. The video is still not coming on for you. What camera error? What the hell? Come on. Try again. Why are you not working? Okay, hang on. I'm going to close this particular Discord and then I'm going to open a new one. Closing particular ones is also quite difficult. Okay, let me just try this. Okay, that hasn't done anything. Okie dokie, let's try this. Okay, bear with me everybody, I just need to fix things for people over in trans voice. So currently they won't be able to hear me, but they will be able to in just a moment. Bear with me. Okie dokie, people in trans voice. Hopefully this fixes it now. I've just restarted that particular Discord. Oh, why is it not fixing? Oh wait, I've just got wrong camera there. Okay, okay, there we go. We're working now. We're working now. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Thank you, Lismara, for letting people know that I was getting things fixed. Okay, just to make sure everybody else is still properly working, aren't they? I believe so. If we're having issues in any of the other Discords, please do let me know, okay? Right. Cool, so we were talking about hyperadduction. So I'm not sure how much trans voice missed, but essentially hyperadduction is when we're going super heavy weight or a super close quotient, and we're spending so much time closed, we're struggling to actually release air, okay? Then we can have an issue of hyperadduction, all right? What that sounds like is if we do the whole drill again, and then if we have a voice that is kind of like this, hang on, let me really add that hyperadduction. Yeah, if we have a voice that is like really like this, where the air is struggling to get out, and we're having to do that all the time, where we're having to like breathe out a bit to then release some air so we can then continue like having air and talking and stuff. This is going to be hyperadduction, all right? Again, you're just not releasing enough air to actually like continue your talking properly. The solution to this is essentially to lean into the issue, all right? So imagine you're lifting a really heavy weight. This is going to give you super hyperadduction, okay? So we're going to go, and then we're going to try and talk through that. This is going to be like the most hyperadducted your vocal folds could possibly be, okay? So that's super tense. Lifting a heavyweight sound is going to be that hyperadduction, where your true vocal folds are like tensing up a whole bunch, all right? So to fix it, lean into the problem so we can gain control and then start leaning out again, all right? If you can do more of something, you can do less of something. So teach yourself to do more so that you can then teach yourself to do less, all right? Try to do more, try to do less. Try to do more still, try to do less still. And keep moving that out until eventually you can completely get rid of it, all right? And you just have ordinary talking with that buzziness going on, okay? Same thing for hyperabduction, all right? So this is the opposite of hyperreduction, where we're having the vocal folds are too open instead of false vocal folds are tensing up, okay? So that sounds more like this, where we have that breathiness aspect coming through, but we also have that strained kind of sound going into it, okay? So for this, we want to again lean into the issue so we can then move away from the issue. There's lots of different voices we can think of for this. The classic one people say is the old man voice, okay? Get off my lawn, kids, get off my lawn. If you can imitate that sound there, or you can even just imitate this sound that I have right now, where we have this huge amount of air coming through, and we also have that tense sound coming into it as well, should feel quite uncomfortable to do. that means we can then remove it as well. Because again, if you can do more of something, you can do less of something. So anything where you're just not sure, do more of a thing that's sounding weird so that you can then do less of a thing that's sounding weird. That applies to anything that you're not sure how to control, because doing more of something is controlling it. Okay? So that's hyperadduction and abduction. If somebody tells you about false vocal fold stuff, it's going to be hyperabduction. Anything to do with false vocal folds is always hyperabduction. Cool. Okay, that was very uncomfortable to do. Both of those are going to feel quite uncomfortable. Especially the hyperabduction. Yes, unpleasant. Okay, any questions? Bring me your questions. While you guys ask questions, I'm just going to pop to the toilet real quick before we move on to the next section. So yeah, fill the chats with all of your questions, okay? I'll be right back. Okie dokie. Something I forgot to mention, by the way, your softies will also help you with hyperadduction/abduction, because you can't do either when you're doing softies. So they will help you to stop doing them as well. This section is why I have a ginger tea with me. Okie dokie, cool. Let's move forward then if there are no other questions. All right, so size/resonance/larynx height, because I've forgotten to add that bit in again. So earlier we mentioned, just a quick recap, we have our vocal fold thickening, all right, producing that buzzier sound. We fixed that just a moment ago. We also have those longer vocal folds for impact pitch, and we have that larynx descending and enlarging, all right? That's the thing we're going to fix here, okay? So that larger sound is going to have a more sound like this, okay? Whereas the smaller sound is going to be a sound more like this. Now, again, I mentioned that the whole filtering thing in that power source filter model. We have a sound being produced, and then it takes on the shape of its environment, all right? A really good demonstration of this. Imagine this is your vocal tract, okay? And I'm going to produce a sound in that vocal tract. And we hear that sound. Now, I'm going to expose that vocal tract to testosterone. Now we got big vocal tract, okay? So that larynx has dropped and it's gotten bigger, okay? It's expanded outwards, all right? So now with our expanded larynx, I'm going to produce that exact same sound. And you can hear, because that sound has taken the shape of its larger environment, it's got a larger sound to it. Some people will call this a darker sound. I don't care what words you use for this, so long as you can tell the difference between that big and that small change. All right? If you've heard of people saying resonance, the idea behind that term is these are the resonators through within your vocal tract. The air is resonating in different ways through your vocal tract. So that's where the term resonance comes from. If you hear size, that's again because the larynx is getting bigger, okay? And some people say it sounds bigger as well. If you hear larynx height, that's just because what we do about this is we move the larynx up and down, all right? To super demonstrate this and to show that moving the larynx will change this, okay? Again, here is my, let me align myself. Here's my vocal tract, all right? This sticky outy bit is my Adam's apple, okay? This is going to be your indicator for where my larynx is, because that's a part of the larynx. I'm going to try to make sure that I am lined up properly, okay? So I'm going to make it bigger by moving it downwards, okay? So now it's over here. We'll do the same tapping test. And now you hear that my voice sounds much different to how it sounded when it was at the lower level, okay? And now my voice sounds like this, okay? So that change in your larynx height manipulates the size of your larynx, because as it moves upwards, it has to shrink, okay? Because it's in a smaller space. All right, does that make sense to everybody? So by raising our larynx, we get that brighter sound. Now, I'm going to show you a drill for how to do this. Really important. I don't actually want you guys focusing on moving your larynx. That's what's happening, but you guys are going to focus on just the sound, okay? So I don't want you thinking move larynx up. I want you thinking make sound, whatever word you want to use, brighter, for example. Technically, brightness isn't that accurate, but for our purposes, it'll do, okay? So make sound brighter is what I want you thinking in your head, not moving your body in a certain way. But in terms of the actual mechanics and why this is happening, that's what's happening. We're moving the larynx upwards, okay? Okay, I see no questions, so I'm guessing that was a perfect explanation and nobody's confused in any way whatsoever. So how do we do this? All right, a little exercise for you. Big dog, little dog. You might have come across this before. The idea is essentially you're going to pant like you're a big dog, and then you're going to pant like you're a little dog. It was a great explanation. Good. I'm glad it made sense to all of you. So yeah, big dog, little dog. And just do that with order of whatever you're targeting. So if you want a larger vocal tract size, you're going to end on the big dog. And if you're going for a smaller vocal tract size, start on the small dog.
Naveen Zagarak subscribed to the channel.
Yo, thank you so much for the subscription. I super appreciate that. Thank you so much. I think that was Lazy Nimrod. And I think TTS just really struggled with your with your name there. So sorry that TTS butchered your voice there. Or butchered your name there, sorry. If that is what TTS just said. Because I did not make that out at all. But yeah, super huge thank you for the subscribe. I really appreciate that. Oh yeah, I should interrupt our explanation real quick. I'm really trying to build up for YouTube right now. There's some content ideas that I have where I want to network with some other people and get some collabs happening, which I think are going to be really useful content for you. I want some debates on different topics. I want some useful different stuff for you guys. But we need to build up the channel a bit bigger so that when I approach other people, they can see oh, this is a reasonably sized channel. I am willing to work with this person. I know that sounds a bit cringe, but that is how people operate because they have limited time. So if we can build up a little bit, then it'll help me to be able to say to people hey, you should come on my channel so that we can help these people. And they can see that, oh, we will actually be helping a decent amount of people. So yeah, I really, really appreciate everybody that follows, everybody that subscribes. And if you just share this with anybody that you think would benefit from it, then that would be super helpful. Do these streams get saved on YouTube? Yes, they do. You might not be able to catch the whole lesson, so it'd be great to come back later and have it. Yeah, so if you go onto the YouTube, youtube.com/trans_network, just head to the live section, then you'll see all of the past VODs, and every single workshop stays up there. Okay, enough plugs, enough shelling. So yeah, our exercise, big dog, little dog. All the way around, okay? The idea behind this exercise is essentially what we're doing when we do is we're whispering, okay? So if you try to talk like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is all me whispering right now. Now, what happens when we whisper is our vocal folds stay open. That's how you are able to whisper. That's what whispering is. It's your vocal folds staying open, all right? Now, earlier I mentioned that pitch is your vocal folds doing that, vibrating the air, okay? That's that source of a sound. So if we don't have that happening, then we don't have a source of a sound. Instead, all you're hearing is the air reverberating through your vocal tract. All right? That's really cool because that means we can isolate it. Okay? So all you're hearing when you move your vocal tract, when you move your whisper, your pant, to sound smaller or larger, that's literally your vocal tract changing shape to make that change happen. All right? So moves your larynx down and enlarges it, moves your larynx up and contracts it. All right? So you have that smaller space. Okay? So the full drill is going to be you do that. We do a little phonation test where we bring it into some voice. All right? We add that source back in and we try to maintain that same vocal tract shape, that raised larynx, as we bring in some phonation, as we bring that source in. And then we try to talk to see if you can really hold it. Okay? So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we do a little bit of talking to make sure that we're maintaining it and we're not dropping it at all. Okay? Or the other way around. 1, 2, 3, and again we're having that lower larynx, okay, that larger vocal tract size, and we're going through this whole thing to try and make sure that we're keeping it as we go into our phonation test, that oh, and as we go into our talking, okay, to make sure we keep nice and consistent with a lowered larynx. Okay, so if everybody that wants to unmute is down to unmute, we'll all have a go at this together. If you're masculizing, I want you to go little dog, big dog into your phonation test. If you're feminizing, I want you to go big dog, little dog into your phonation test. Okay? So everybody that's down to have a go at this, everybody unmute, and we'll all have a little go. If there's any questions about how we do this and anybody hasn't understood, then make sure you write your questions real quick so I can answer those before we actually give it a go together. So if you're down to participate, get yourselves unmuted. I guess no pressure if nobody wants to, but it is always good if some people do. Okay, all right. Let's give this a go. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Give me your dogs.
1, 2, 3. I'm doing this wrong.
Nice. Well done, everybody. Okay, remute again. Remute. Okay, so that is your big dog, little dogs, or your little dog, big dogs. Now, big dog, little dog can come with a couple of issues. Okay. The issue being that we can be changing more things in our vocal tract than just our larynx height. Because if you imagine, any change in our vocal tract is going to change the sound. However, the stuff in our mouth, we use those parts to change it in ways that change the words we say. All right? If you try to talk a little bit, you'll feel your tongue's moving all over the place. You'll feel your lips are moving. Sometimes they spread apart. Sometimes they are really like sealed. Sometimes they make different shapes. Okay? All of those different things are going to be making the words that you say. So if we have any change happening in our mouth, that's going to change the actual words. All right? That's why we want it to be just the larynx moving, because if it's only the larynx moving, that doesn't affect the words that we say. Okay? It's like the bit that's available. All right? So listen to, if you go really carefully listening to a big dog, little dog, if someone does it wrong, they'll go like this. Now notice the different word there. Ha and he. All right? So we're moving the mouth there as well as moving our larynx. No good. All right? Because I don't want you having to talk like this all the time, or you're having to smile whenever you're feminizing.
I don't want you having to talk like this all the time, where we're having to have these really like oh kind of sounds in our voice. All right? I want you to have like whatever kind of voice that you want to have. Okay? And to be able to say whatever words you want to say.
Okay? So we don't want that happening. Solution. All right? Instead of doing our pants, we're going to use a word. All right? For our feminizers, I want you to use the word cheese, okay? Cheese, 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 cheese. Cheese. And for our masculizers, who are going the other way, we're going to use the word paw, okay? Like a cat's paw or whatever. Paw, 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 paw,
Oh, and now we have this kind of voice. All right.
So cheese or paw. Big cheese, little paw, big paw. All right. Use whichever one is relevant to you. Big dog, little dog is a really good way to introduce this idea to somebody. And then I always move them to either cheese or paw. As you get good with this, change your word. Okay. You could flip. All right. So once you've got your cheeses really good and you're producing a really nice raised larynx sound, try a big paw, little paw. Okay. And then continue having that sound going on. All right. Change up the vowel in the middle. Use all sorts of different words, but change that vowel. We could have pan. Pan. And then we continue like this for the rest of our talking. Always make sure we have that phonation test and we have that talking whenever you practice this. Okay, and just rotate for different things that we do. But to start off, big cheese, little paw, big paw. Okay, for our relevant changes. Okie dokie. And if you're really struggling with all of this, for the masculizers, again, we have our yawn voice. Because you remember earlier that yawn voice and why it's not the most amazing exercise, because it locks us into one thing. All right, that one thing is a light perceptual vocal weight, or my open quotient, and a lowered larynx, okay? A larger vocal tract size.
Okay, so if I then have that yawn going on, you can hear I've lowered my larynx a whole bunch, but I've also got that lighter vocal weight, all right? So this is again why I encourage this as just getting a feel for it, because you're going to struggle to add that vocal weight back in with this yawn voice, but if you're just going for your big paw, little paw, little paw, big paw, and then you can have that vocal weight coming in if you want to, okay? And it shouldn't be nearly as difficult, all right?
So yeah, that's going to be our larynx height stuff. Does that make sense to everybody? All right? Now, this is, in terms of actually doing this, if you struggle, do not worry. This is absolutely the hardest thing you will do in your voice gendering journey. At least for most people, that's the case. Usually people find weight not too hard and size way harder. All right. Some people are the other way around, but most people that's the case. Personally, I already knew how to do weight because the way I talked to my dog was just shedding all of my vocal weight. That's like how I do my like dog voice, I suppose. Yeah, so I already had kind of accidentally practiced weight by talking to my dog. So my almost entire vocal journey, it took like 8 months to get the voice you're hearing right now. Almost all of that was just size stuff, okay? So this can really take a long time to get good at and to become happy with. So be patient with yourself. Some common problems that can come up though, all right? Pitch. Again, this is not pitch, all right? This is a completely different thing. Pitch is that source stuff. But larynx height or vocal tract size is that filter that we're adding on top of it. So pitch has already happened by the time you're doing this stuff, okay? To really demonstrate this, here's a change in pitch. Okay? Here's a change in my vocal tract size, my larynx height. All right? Completely different sound, okay? If you're really struggling to figure out like how to distinguish the two, try doing your whispered vowels or your big cheese, little cheese, okay? Do that at both ends, all right? So give me the cheese and the cheese, all right? That's going to be your change in vocal tract size, in larynx height, and then give me the Mario theme. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. That's going to be a pitch movement, all right? Everybody has the Mario theme locked into their heads, so use that Mario theme. It will help to remind you what pitch is, okay? You could even do it at both ends. Okay? Cheese, cheese. He's ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Oh, dang, it feels like you're doing something wrong and then got to go by. Okay, I am sorry, I can't help you with that then because you just disappeared afterwards. But you know what? I will send a reply to this person because they are in my server. Drop a clip in the feedback channel and I'll help you out tomorrow. Oh, in fact, I can even go hash clip feedback. Okay, cool. If you're in my server, by the way, I have a clip feedback channel, so you can just submit a clip and I will get to it as soon as I can and give you some feedback. Cool. So yeah, join my Discord. There's cool stuff there. There's lessons there. There's free lessons there. You can just straight up, if you want public lessons, you can just get them completely free. And I'll teach you the entirety of everything. We'll go through like full everything. I will help you feminize your, masculinize your voice. Okay, sick. So yeah, pitch and the different change we're doing here, the larynx height thing or the vocal tract size thing, that's going to help you. Oh, sorry, pitch and vocal tract size are different sound changes. All right. My pitch didn't move. My larynx height didn't move. All right. So these are completely different things. Another issue that people can have is having some tension come in. This is a really common one for this. All right. It can come in loads of different ways. I mentioned earlier, I had some, the back of my neck was tensing up. It's not even related to anything to do with voice. It was just happening. Okay. And that was happening when I tried to raise my larynx. It's just all that's happening is your brain is like, I'm not sure what to do here. This really often happens to people that are trying to focus on how it feels. Okay. So really don't focus on how it feels. Focus on how it sounds. All right. Oh, Lismara, thank you for linking the server earlier. I didn't even see that you'd done that. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Yes. So yeah, your brain is like, I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to tense a bunch of muscles. So it kind of like shotgun sprays in the area that it thinks is where things are happening. So you could have the back of your neck tensing up. You could have the sides of your neck tensing up. You could have your jaw tensing up, your tongue tensing up. What other things do people have? Back of the throat tensing up. Just random areas tensing up. All right. You shouldn't feel any tension or any tightness or any discomfort during any of this. It should be just as easy as your unmodified voice in terms of like the physical sensation. Obviously, it can be more difficult like mentally because you've got to learn this new skill. But physically, it should be like as unexerting or as physically like unburdening, lack of burden, lack of whatever, as much as you're unmodified. Okay. So yeah, any tension you're feeling, there's a few ways to get rid of them. If it's something pretty external, that's like a muscle you can easily move, just get it moving. So if it's the back of your neck, just gently roll your neck and then do your cheese. And you'll find that you can't tense up your neck as much when you're moving it because it's already busy doing something else. Okay. So occupy it with something else so it can't tense up. Okay, if it's your tongue, flick your tongue out, all right? Okay, and then start talking using the tongue. Obviously, that's going to change the sound a lot. Doesn't matter, all right? We're just disassociating the tongue from the larynx height, okay? Again, if it's your jaw, kind of move your jaw around as you do your drill, okay? All of these things, just move it around. Doesn't matter if it changes the sound because you're just disassociating those two things. Once they've dissociated, then you can make sure it's all sounding properly again. Another good clue is if your words start to warp, okay? If your cheese becomes a chiz or a chiz or like anything other than just cheese, then you've probably got some mouth tension, okay? Maybe your lips are tensing up. Maybe it's your tongue, something like that is tensing. So again, occupy it with something, all right? And make sure your cheese stays a cheese or your paw stays a paw, okay? And just become like a pa or something like that, all right? You're starting to feel a bit strained, so you think you might bounce for this week, but thank you, no worries. You can still just listen in for a bit if you want to, because it's all going to be useful stuff even if you're just listening. But yeah, take a little break. What else we got? Yeah, whatever tension you're feeling, try to occupy it. If you can't occupy it, maybe it's something a bit more internal and you can't really move muscles very easily, try just massaging the area, okay? That massage will help you to relax whatever it is that's tensing, to move that tension out, okay? Or it can even help you to just focus on the area so you can consciously try to remove that tension, okay? And just like intentionally just, oh, this thing is tense, I'm going to relax it, okay? Kind of like going like here and then just intentionally relaxing it, okay? Obviously, intentionally relaxing is more difficult because this is something you weren't intentionally doing in the first place, but the massage can help you do that. If you can just intentionally remove it, by all means, just do that too. Cool. If you're having a lot of discomfort during it and you're having that abduction we mentioned earlier with the your voice kind of sounding like this. If you're having that happen, then you're probably going too loud and too impactful with your whispers, okay? So I don't want cheese, 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 because that increase in force is coming from your false vocal folds engaging, okay? So just go for a nice and quiet. Cheese, 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 cheese. All right? If we're nice and relaxed, we're going to have way less tension coming in. All right? So keep things really, really relaxed. Okay? Quieter is always going to be better when we're doing any of our whispered stuff. All right? Okay, any questions about this topic? It's a big topic and it can be very, very difficult at first. So absolutely ask questions here. And definitely be drinking plenty as you do this one. These exercises, these whispered exercises, can very slowly dehydrate you a bit. So make sure you're drinking plenty to counteract that. Also, I've been talking a lot, so my voice is getting a bit tired. What I really want is this. My tea's going a bit cold. Well, it's still nice. Okay, no questions. That's crazy. I should assume that everybody has fully understood this then. Yeah, this is a difficult one to understand for people, and this is a difficult one to do. So firstly, just be patient with yourself. It's okay if you struggle with this, and also ask plenty of questions. Okie dokie. So let's say that you have spent your 2 weeks doing your softies, okay? You then moved on to weight and you mastered weight, okay? You are perfect at going heavy and going light, okay? Or at least you're perfect at going to where you're trying to go to, okay? You then, after having fully mastered that, because I want you doing these things in order, okay? After mastering that, you move on to size and you nail it, all right? You've spent months on size and you are just the fucking best person at size, okay? You've mastered it completely. So we've got all of those things we're completely done with. Now we start marrying everything together, okay? So fullness is the concept that when your vocal tract size, your larynx height, is in balance, in harmony with your perceptual vocal weight or your quotient, when they're in like balance with one another, things sound more quote unquote normal. Or to be a bit clearer about that, the further we move away from them being in balance, the more voices start sounding a bit more cartoonish, a bit more put on, a bit more fake, okay? So if you find that your voice just sounds weird and you can't really put your finger on it, it's probably a fullness issue, okay? So to really demonstrate this, right now, you're hearing a pretty full and feminine voice, okay? I have a raised larynx and I have a open quotient and they're roughly in balance. I might sound ever so slightly hollow because that's kind of what I've gone for. But they should still sound reasonably full. Now, if I start to go really hollow, I just start dropping my larynx without changing my perceptual vocal weight. Now we start getting a voice that sounds more like this. And you've probably never really heard somebody in real life actually talk like this.
you might have heard some cartoon characters talk like this. Like if I go like this and I go like, hi, my name's Patrick. Or, no, this is Patrick. Okay? This is what Patrick Star kind of sounds like. Or Yogi Bear. I'm smarter than the average bear. If I do a proper British accent and I have a bit of breathiness coming into it, now I kind of sound like Pooh Bear from Winnie the Pooh. Okay? Oh, I do love honey. Okay? So all of those sounds are going to be reminiscent of different cartoon characters, which is going to be a really good sign that they are like something is wrong with the fullness. They sound cartoonish. Literally, various characters have this sort of sound going on with them.
Okay, and now if I go back to a full fem, it no longer sounds cartoonish. It just sounds like an ordinary person's voice. If I start going the other way, so I keep the larynx height where it is, but I start getting heavier with my perceptual vocal weight, I go for more closed quotient, I can then start sounding a bit more like this, okay? And again, this is sounding a bit less normal, all right? Let me go like really hard. Yeah, now I really have that really heavy voice while having that raised larynx, okay? There's a bunch of different characters you might think of for this. Some people say SpongeBob. I'm pretty sure SpongeBob has some extra things going on. Like I'm pretty sure he has a bunch of twang as well. But other characters you might think of is like a cartoon gnome can sometimes sound like this, or like an elf can sometimes sound a bit like this. Like usually, yeah, those cartoon annoying characters. Annoying voices tend to be a lot more like this. What else we got? Nerd voices are often a bit like this. Like in cartoons and stuff. So yeah, all of these different cartoon characters start coming in when we have this kind of a voice going on. Again, you probably don't really hear many people sounding like this in real life because it just doesn't sound very typical, and most people don't have voices like this. But if I was to then drop that vocal tract size and I move over to here, okay, now this sounds like an ordinary masculine voice. It's got that heaviness to it. It's got that larger vocal tract size. It just sounds like an ordinary masculine voice. And again, if I remove all of that heaviness to it, I go for a lighter voice. And when I raise up that larynx, now I sound like an ordinary feminine voice. So the graph can help you with figuring this out. Okay, the graph can help you with figuring this out. Just weight and size being in balance gives us a more quote-unquote normal voice. Now, we don't need a perfect fullness line, all right? So long as you're in for right quadrant, then you'll be completely fine. So you can sound a bit hollow and still sound entirely feminine, and that could be completely fine. If any of you have heard Celine de Silva from Online Vocal Coach, that Discord, Vox Studio, I think is her website. She has quite an underfull voice, okay? Quite a hollow voice, but she's in that femme quadrant, okay? So she's just closer to that hollower side while still being in the femme quadrant, okay? So you absolutely can still sound feminine while being anywhere in that quadrant, okay? If I start just dropping my vocal tract size, or so dropping my larynx like a little bit, I probably, let me find it. Okay, yeah, I've now just dropped it just a little bit, and now I still sound relatively feminine. And you can really play around with this all sorts of places with it still sounding entirely femme. Again, if I go over here, this is me raising my larynx as much as possible. I haven't been talking like this for most of the workshop. I've been talking more like this, okay? So yeah, just play around with it, and you can find all sorts of different places that your voice can be at. Just play around with the graph. Play around with manipulating your weight, manipulating your vocal tract size, your larynx height, until you find somewhere that you're happy with, okay? This can also be a really good practice environment as well. Play with this graph, like plot yourself a point and aim at it, and then just try to move around the graph. So like try to move from femme full to over full, going like, and now you have that buzziness in your voice again, and then try to go from there over to like mask full, and now I have that full masculine voice again, and then you can try going from there over to hollow, and now I have that hollow kind of a voice, and then I'm going to raise my larynx up again, now I have that full fem. And try to just move around to different places in this graph. You know, draw a symbol or whatever and try to like follow the line of a symbol or whatever. Yeah, it's a really good way to practice. So yeah, play around with that. Any questions about fullness? Relatively simple concept, so people usually get it, but I also might have missed something, so ask your questions. Is the graph supposed to be on the screen right now? Yeah, it's there. It's right there. I know you can see it because I can see in your Discord on my screen. It's like a graph underneath all that text. You right over there, right there. Over there is the graph. Hopefully you guys can see it. I'm pretty sure you guys can see it, but yeah, you can totally see a graph right there. I sure hope so. Visible for me. Okay, good shit. Oh, video might have frozen. Okay, if video is frozen, watch through the YouTube. It looks to me like it's not frozen, so it's probably happening on your end. Yeah, if you watch through the YouTube stream, that usually is like the most stable like video output. And then just like listen through Discord or whatever you want to do. There's probably going to be a little bit of a delay, but I have it on like minimum delay, so it shouldn't be too bad for you. Any other questions about fullness? Video fine, this Discord? Good. Okay, let's keep going. So, okie dokie. Oh yeah, you can use that screenshot as well. Okay, so we've even mastered fullness. We've done all the things I mentioned earlier, and now we've even got the fullness down, okay? We have the gendering of our voice changed. Now we can just tweak the other shit if we want to. So everything in this next section is completely optional, okay? It's just for those people that, A, if anybody has found that their voice has gotten a bit different outside of the gendering, then they might want to tweak that. Or if somebody particularly doesn't like their voice as it is, regardless of the gendering, then they might want to change aspects of that. So there's a whole bunch of these things. These are things that do not affect the gendering at all. They are non-gendered. And they're just little customization things that you can do if you want to. Again, all of it is entirely optional. All of it is just, if you like the sound, go for it. So vocal fry. Specifically, this is called Fry Creek. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, this list is not an exhaustive list. There is an infinite array of different things that impact your voice, different tone modifications, different things you can be doing, different patterns you can be taking on. The list is infinite. This is just some common ones that people either accidentally do or want to do, okay? So some people like some Fry Creek. Fry Creek sounds like this, okay? That kind of popping happening in your voice. If we think of like Raven from Teen Titan, Raven she's just always in fry, okay? She's always using fry in her voice. So yeah, you can have vocal fry if you want vocal fry. You'll hear in my voice sometimes. It never happens immediately after me talking about fry because I'm thinking about it. But you'll have heard throughout this workshop, and you'll hear as we continue into the workshop, I occasionally drop into fry for certain words, or like the end of a sentence I do it sometimes. I did it on that yeah, usually as I have my downward inflection, as I end a sentence, I add a little bit of vocal fry. It's just something that I do habitually. Also, when I get more tired, I tend to add a lot more vocal fry. So in the next hour or so, you'll notice my vocal fry will like super increase. So yeah, vocal fry, if you like it, add it. It doesn't affect the gendering of your voice, but some people enjoy it. So yeah. Pitch. Pitch is one I have mentioned earlier, that increased vocal tract length, that increased vocal fold length helps to reduce your pitch. While that is true, pitch is also something that moves around a lot. So your larynx height, your vocal tract size stays pretty stable. Your weight, it stays pretty stable. But your pitch you can hear in my voice, my pitch is all over the place, all right? It's moving up and it's moving down, all right? So because everybody has movements in their pitch, we don't have that strong of association with its gendering because everybody moves around so much anyway. So really, you can put the pitch wherever the hell you want to put your pitch, okay? My pitch right now is about as low as my pitch can go. Like if I start going lower, and that's about as far down as I could go, okay? Before I start entering that grave extension. So yeah, I have a very low pitched femme voice. Some people are gonna have a higher pitched femme voice. Some people talk a little bit more over here if they want to. Yeah, you can put it wherever you want to. If you have a lower pitched feminine voice, you're just gonna sound like you have a lower pitched feminine voice. If you have a higher pitched masculine voice, if you have a higher pitched masculine voice, you'll just sound like a dude with a higher pitched voice, okay? It won't really change the gendering. So just put your pitch wherever you want to put your pitch. It really, really doesn't matter that much. So yeah, pitch wherever the heck you want it to go. It doesn't matter in the slightest. Breathiness. Breathiness, again, completely optional. If you want it, have it. If you don't want it, don't have it. I did mention earlier that I don't want it while you're practicing weight. That's just so you don't get the two things confused. By all means, as soon as you've finished with weight, bring that breathiness back in if you want to. Again, breathiness is just, if you breathe out more as you're talking, it will sound breathy. So if I'm doing a huge amount of breathiness right now, you can hear me breathing out as I talk, okay? And I'm running out of air pretty quickly because I'm breathing out so much. Obviously, that's an extreme amount, just so you can hear the difference. But if I just add a little bit of breathiness into my voice, this is what most people are going for when they have a little bit of breathiness. Some people quite like this. If you like it, go for it. Some people really like the combination of breathiness and a lower pitch. So if you're someone who likes a lower pitched, breathy kind of a voice, then by all means, absolutely go for it. Again, it's completely optional. That there was some vocal fry coming in, and so was that. Okay. Twang, less common, less popular. Usually this comes in as a conflation somewhere, but some people do like it, so it's worth mentioning. Twang is this kind of sound right now. It sounds kind of twangy. It sounds similar to a heavy vocal weight, but you'll notice there's no buzziness right now. Like if I was to add that buzziness again, and now I have all of that buzziness. Do you hear the difference between me right now with a really closed quotient and twang, and me right now with a really open quotient and still having a whole bunch of twang? Okay? So twanginess is going to make your voice a bit louder. You're basically squeezing your voice through a really small hole using the aryepiglottic folds. You don't need to worry about what they are. Just focus on the sound, okay? This twangy kind of a sound is twang. If you're struggling to control this, then lean into, you can mimic a baby crying in a sort of cartoon way, okay? That's going to be a whole bunch of twang, okay? Or we can go for like a witch cackle. That's again going to be that's going to be a whole bunch of twanginess. Okay, so if you like twang, add it in. You don't have to have that to the extreme amount. If I just have like a little bit of twang, I have this kind of a sound to my voice. So yeah, if you like that bit of twang coming into your voice, then by all means add a little bit of twang. Yeah, some people like it, some people don't, so get rid of it if you want to. You do like breathiness, but you feel like you don't have great control of it. How do you work on that? You heard glottal strikes. Not sure if that's the one you'd use. Glottal strikes are better for if your phonation is cutting out. So if your voice is kind of like this, where you're like struggling to maintain proper phonation, and sometimes it just ends up going like this, and you're struggling to actually keep it from going in like that. Yeah. If you have that going out with the voice is cutting in and out, glottal strikes will help with that. For people who don't know, glottal strikes is where we just go like bang with our vocal folds. If you think of the British pronunciation of butter, okay, we have a glottal stop where that T should be, but where the sound just cuts off, and then we have like a big release, okay? So that is a glottal strike. Okay, we're going bang, 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 bang. So that's a glottal strike. If you're having issues with your phonation cutting in and out, the sound, the source cutting in and out, use those glottal strikes. It'll really help you. For breathiness though, try to just breathe out as you're talking. So literally, and then start talking as you breathe out. Okay? That's going to add a whole bunch of breathiness to your voice. So now that you've got a whole bunch of breathiness, try to do it a bit more controlled. Try to have a level of control of the amount of air that you're actually pushing out while you still have that exhale happening during your talking. Okay? That's going to help you control breathiness. All right? If you're doing breathiness and if you don't want it, try to do more of it so you can do less of it. It's that old thing that we talked about before. Okay? Okay, last little thing here, accent. Accents are also not gendered. Accents are going to include your intonation, your pitch pattern, all sorts of things in accents. But all the little patterns are usually going to impact accent stuff. Okay? So again, intonation is a big one, and pitch movement's a big one, and there can be random other stuff that comes into it. So yeah, your accent does not affect the gendering of your voice. I specifically spent a bit of time mentioning this one and mentioned the intonation and the pitch pattern because there is a rumor out there that the gendering to like part of your changing the gendering of your voice is to change your intonation and your pitch patterns. This is a yes, but actually no situation. Yes, there is a slight difference in the pitch patterns and intonation patterns of a feminine voice and a masculine voice. However, that's completely cultural, meaning what exactly changes depends on your location, your region, all right? Your accent. So people from England, the differences between a masculine inflection and a masculine pitch pattern and a feminine version of each of those is going to be different. So the changes between those two things in, say, America or in Brazil or in Russia or wherever you're at. So this idea, the big ones I hear are like feminine voices move more in their pitch patterns. Not necessarily true. It depends on where you live. The idea that that pitch moves more flowy versus more like jumpy. Again, not necessarily true. Depends on where you live. Voices being sharper or duller, not necessarily true. Depends on where you live. Usually all these things that you hear are in reference to America, specifically West Coast America, but they do apply to most of America because of just homogenization of different stuff. But they're really strongly the case in West Coast America. So that little bit of like kind of misinfo, kind of like yesn't, is that's why you hear a lot of feminizers with their voices becoming Cali girl voice. All right. If you're getting a Cali girl voice issue, it's because you're trying to add the pitch patterns and the inflection patterns and all of those sorts of things from the West Coast America accent, okay? Which is making you sound more American. So if you're having issues with your accent changing, you're probably changing something to do with your pitch patterns or your inflection patterns, your prosody, that's like all of those things together. You're changing something there that doesn't need to be changed, all right? So think about just reversing those things and bring yourself back to your normal accent. Also, that difference between a masculine version of an accent and a feminine version of an accent is so small, it's barely perceptible in various accents. There's somewhere it's a bit larger, so like a Japanese accent, there is a much clearer feminine version of Japanese and masculine version of Japanese in terms of the sounds being created, other than just the words. I think they also use different words as well. I don't know Japanese that detailed. But if you go to, say, Britain, if you don't have a trained ear, you probably won't hear it. Or like, I think it was Finland, somebody was telling me, there is just so little inflection change and pitch change. Apparently, I haven't explored Finnish very much, but what I've been told anecdotally is there's so little movement and things are so monotonous that there really can't be much of a difference between the masculine and the feminine because there's not much to change. go into West Coast America and you have a bit more variation. So yeah, just keep in mind that one, that sort of changing the pitch pattern, really, it doesn't matter that much, like if at all. And two, the changes that you do are regional. So just because it works in America does not mean it will work for you. If you want to change this, and this is something that is bothering you, then listen to the people around you with your target voice, okay? If you're masculizing, listen to the dudes around you and just what have they got going on that's different to the women, all right? Same if you're on the other way around. Listen to what the women have that the men don't have, or just the differences between the two. This is going to be one of the last things you ever change in your voice, even if you are worried about this. So you'll have a much better way, like you'll have a much better ear for perceiving these differences. So yeah, listen to the people around you, see if there actually is a difference. If there is, by all means, make that change. Even if there isn't though, you know that this is super important, because if you go to somewhere new or you hear an accent that's brand new to you, you can still gender it, because these like gendered parts of the accent are so much of a nothing burger. Like you'll hear if somebody's masculine and feminine, even if you've never heard their accent before, because the larynx height, the vocal weight is so much more important. It's like 99.9% of the vocal gendering, okay? So really do not worry about the other stuff, okay? That's why I put all of this accent stuff into customization, all right? Any questions about that? Any questions at all? You will have some vocal coaches disagreeing with me on the accent stuff. I challenge any of them. Like the question I would always put to them is, if I don't do it, would I not sound feminine? And the answer is always going to be no. So if the answer is no, then this isn't a gendered thing. Yeah. And also ask them if it's regional or not, and then that will elucidate the fact that, well, yeah, it's regional. Unless I guess they don't know that, which is a red flag. I guess while I wait for these questions, I will also mention something that you might run into is the quality of vocal, of trans voice teaching, of gender affirming voice, is pretty trash. Like the bar is down in hell, which really sucks. So it's difficult to find good quality care. So just be careful out there. If you don't go for me, that's completely fine. But whoever you do go for, just watch out that they are a good quality teacher. Things you should be looking out for. If they cannot do a good masculine voice and a good feminine voice, they need to be able to do both, because if they can't do both, then they can't even implement their own teachings. So that's a huge red flag. If they get, like, I've taught you some of the like mechanics of how these things work. If they don't understand that what's happening is your larynx is moving, or if they don't understand that your vocal tract size is changing and you're getting a bigger vocal tract or a smaller vocal tract, if they don't understand the underlying mechanics, that's a big red flag. They just know a set of drills and don't really know what they're doing. And if they're saying weird things are gendered that aren't gendered, that's a red flag. If they're doing anything really that changes the sound of your voice outside of just it sounding more masculine or less masculine, like more feminine, that's like always going to be a red flag, okay? You should never feel any tension. Nothing should change other than it just being the exact same as your voice, but now feminized or masculized, unless you specify that you wanted something on top of that changing, okay? So if their drills are causing other things to change, something's wrong, and that's a problem, okay? That's potentially a bad vocal coach. And also, yes, Darshan points out a really big one. If anybody ever says to you the words swallow and hold in a positive light, run away, okay? Swallow and hold is a technique that was made by some vocal pathologists, like some science people, like way back when, like a decade ago or maybe more. The idea being, the reason you're able to move your larynx is because you need to do that for swallowing. Part of you swallowing is your larynx goes up. Like if you do a swallow and look in a mirror, your larynx will go up, it'll go down, and then it'll go back to rest, okay? So an idea popped up of, well, what if we just start swallowing, and then just stop and hold it at that raised position. Good in theory. The problem is there are so many other things that also happen during a swallow and hold, okay? Or during a swallow, sorry. So you move your larynx up, yes. Your tongue also does a bunch of movement. You start swallowing, so there's probably some like saliva there that you might choke on, okay? Your larynx has a little like cover that goes on when you swallow, so the food doesn't go down your larynx, it goes down the food hole, okay? So that cover's going to be on, which is going to completely change the sound of your voice. Things also are going to have started to tighten as they then push that food down. So you're going to have all these different things coming in just when you were trying to raise your larynx. Really high chance of injury, really high chance of strain. It's a really, really bad exercise. It's like 100% a harmful exercise. So anybody that ever tries to teach you swallow and hold, you should like just not talk to them again. Just ghost them, leave. It's a really bad exercise, and it has caused lots of vocal injuries and can hurt people. So really, really, really avoid anyone that says swallow and hold. It's a really bad exercise. Okay? Okay. You're kind of struggling with your accent because your accent is kind of from all over the place and doesn't really match a lot of people around you. You've been trying to break down your own accent to try and replicate it in your femme voice, but you're kind of struggling with it still. Haha. I tend to change my voice. I'm like switching between whether I'm saying I or you. You tend to change your voice entirely rather than just accent-linked things, or slip back into your mask voice. Okay, go back to the exercises. So use the specific, like the pitch hill and pitch trough is going to be a really good one. Or like if you're feminizing pitch hill, if you're masculinizing pitch trough, because that shouldn't change anything about your accent. And also my screen is freaking out. There we are. The big cheese, little cheese, or the little paw, big paw also will not change anything about your accent. So use those exercises. They will help you because they only change those things in isolation. They don't change your accent. And then, yeah, try not to add anything on top of that. Sorry, my slides like freak out a little bit on my screen sometimes, so I don't actually know what slide I'm on sometimes for you guys. So sorry about that. So yeah, use the exercises while having your accent present, and then try to keep it there as you go through those exercises. All right? That should really help you. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Okie dokie. All right, any other questions about anything we've gone over today? I do not see questions. Perfect. Hopefully you've all understood stuff really good. So that's the end of the workshop. I'll go over a few little thank you things and then we'll do some one-on-ones. So firstly, a huge special thanks to our Ko-fi supporters. These workshops are brought to you. Excuse me. These workshops are brought to you because of the people that support over at Ko-fi. All of this, like, that I'm able to bring, all of really the financing for Trans Network has come from the Ko-fi. We recently increased all of our lessons, all of our everything. And I was able to do that because I had that Ko-fi support to like, as a safety net, okay? So especially if you're in Rainbow Library or Diamond's Trans server, you guys would not be here without the Ko-fi people. Because I had to buy some new equipment so that I could have this many Discords open. And that money entirely came from the Ko-fi people. So huge thank you to them. This would not be happening without those people. And if you would like to join this list of amazing people and you'd like to help support what we do, then head over to the Ko-fi. I really value that support. We also hired a freaking makeup artist and we do a monthly makeup workshop. That again was paid for by the Ko-fi support. So yeah, we freaking hired a whole ass makeup artist. So yeah, if you appreciate all of that and you appreciate what we do, I really appreciate the support to help that happen. All the money that goes into the Ko-fi goes straight back into investing in Trans Network and improving the resources that we give to you guys, and adding more and more services that we're able to provide. So yeah, the support, like, I cannot stress how much it means. It's so helpful. Thank you to Samara for linking it. yeah, genuinely, it helps by such a huge amount, which is why we shout them out every single week. So in our tier 1 support, we have Misty, we have Mihuggy, we have Himori, and we have Graved Robbed Maria. Again, I do not know why Graved Robbed Maria has a different color to everybody else. I change it every week and it changes back. I don't know what's happening to this page, but for some of this slide, but for some reason, Graved Robbed Maria always gets a different color to everybody else. So there you go. We also have our tier 2 supporter. Huge thank you to Lan Misa. And then massive, colossal thank you to our tier 3 supporter, Beth. If you see Beth in any of the various Discords, I know she hangs around Diamond Trans server. I know she hangs around in Trans Voice. And I know she hangs around in my server. If you ever see Beth, give her a huge thank you, because she is a huge part of why you're able to have these workshops. She has, throughout her entire time being in our community, her and Lan Misa have been some of our biggest financial supporters. So huge thank you to both of them. Yeah, this would not be possible without them. Like, it just completely wouldn't be possible. So yeah, huge thank you to those people. And if you'd also like to be in this list, then head over to the Ko-fi, because I cannot stress how helpful that money is, because my bills are always a little bit precarious. So yeah. Okay, also extra huge, special, amazing, incredible thank you to Crammed Voice Lessons over at Linguistics. Crammed Voice Lessons, or his actual name, Charles. Charles trained me for free. So the increase of quality that you guys have noticed over the past few months, since 2025 basically, that's come from Charles. So huge thank you to him. He gave me an entire training course, a 6-week training course, for free. All right, so massive thank you to him, and massive thank you to Linguistics. Linguistics also have a huge amount of support and resources that are really helpful, and there's tons of things for free there. So head over to his Discord if you'd like that. It's a huge Discord. The link is right over there somewhere. Very popular Discord. So if you just Google Linguistics, you'll find it. Yeah, so head over to Linguistics for their stuff. Again, Lismara has just linked it in Trans Voice. Thank you so much. And I'll just do a quick, let me just have a little look. What have they got upcoming? Because they have all kinds of events. Oh, if you're German, they've just recently started doing a German practice lounge. So you can go in there and you can practice in German with a German coach. All of these exercises, by the way, work completely fine in any language. Doesn't matter at all. But the benefit of the German one is you're being given your instructions in German. So if anything's unclear because of language barrier, it really helps. And you get to practice speaking in German. Because people will often find that even though everything is the same, practicing just in German versus practicing in English, they need to be both practiced, okay? Because just the change of something, it's just practice is a really weird thing. You need to practice in all sorts of different environments in all sorts of different ways. You'll find if you always practice in your room in front of your computer, if you go outside, you'll start to drop everything. Just because it's a weird thing your brain does, where it's built a little association between your bedroom and your modified voice, or your computer and your modified voice. You need to teach your brain, but no, it's not. It's not the computer that's the connection. It's not the room that's the connection. It's just me talking. So you need to change your environment all the time to make sure you're getting really good voice work practice. And if you're bilingual, you'll want to use both languages. So if you don't associate the change to be with that language, you associate it with just all of voice. So if you're German, definitely head over to that. It's a really useful event. And Azrali that runs it is a very good teacher. So highly recommend that event. I believe that's every Friday night. At least it is in European time. I don't know what time it will be in other places. But yeah, it's in the events, so go check that out. What other really useful stuff do they have? They have a Trans Voice lecture series coming up. So it'll be a 4-week course where you get to go through all of Trans Voice stuff, all of Gender Affirming Voice. So I recommend that. Even if you don't sign up to it, which you have to pay for, you can just watch it for free, which is really useful. I'm sure there's a special event coming up soon as well. I just need to find it. Oh yeah, there's even some music theory stuff going on over there now. They're really useful Discord. I super recommend them. I guess the Trans Voice lecture series is the special event at the moment. There's usually something coming up that's like a one-time special event. And I guess Trans Voice lecture series is the one that is coming up. So yeah, head over there. Super useful Discord. I highly recommend them. That can be a bit of like a barrier of entry where it feels just, it's a very messy Discord, which can make things a bit difficult. But if you just go to things where people are in VCs and you'll start figuring out what's up, or go to the events and you'll start figuring out what's up. Cool. Okay, yeah, super huge thank you to Charles. Again, like he trained me for free. I cannot stress how huge that is. I am not very wealthy. So yeah, I don't have much money. And the more I've moved into teaching, the less money I've had because I've had to dedicate more time to it. So Charles teaching me for free is huge. So yeah, huge thank you to Charles. If nothing else, just head over to his Discord just to like bully him and harass him and tell him that Zara sent you. Cool. Okay. Fab. Let's head us over to a bit that you've all been waiting for. Where's my scene? There it is. I always do that wrong around. Also, sorry for the slight lagginess in that. It says I'm not dropping any frames, but it's all laggy when it does transitions now. So I've got so many Discords open. So, first of all, no. Hi, YouTube chat. You're like over there now. You're like right on our screen. Hi, YouTube chat. Okay. Anybody that is wanting some actual help with their voice in particular, the rule is just speak next to go next. So whoever interrupts what I'm saying right now gets to go next. If you have any questions and you don't want to be speaking out loud, then just write them down and let me know and I'll ask them. Yeah, it's definitely stuttering in the transition. I don't know why. Because I'm not dropping frames, so I don't know. I mean, I know my processor is struggling. I know that that's what's happening. But I don't know. Yes, if you unmute and start talking, then you get to go next. So whoever speaks next gets to go next. Would anybody like some help and feedback on their voice in particular? Yeah, go for it. No pressure if nobody wants to. We get to just finish early. But yeah, speak next to go next. Anybody wants some help with their voice?
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry,
How can I help you?
this is actually the first time I've
Yeah, totally fine.
tried to okay. Do you have any tips on like dealing with like fear, basically?
The anxiety, yeah? Is it
Yes.
is it an anxiety of using your voice in front of other people, or is it just an anxiety of like starting to do voice stuff?
Mainly in front of people, and obviously it isn't an issue of like actual safety because like I started trying out like when I was just talking here, I tried starting out in my trans voice, and
Yeah.
obviously like that's not what I'm speaking with right now. So like
Mhm.
at least as regards to like, you know, transphobia or whatever, like I have no worry of that around you guys, obviously.
Yeah.
But I still have
There can still be some performance
anxiety. So I'm
anxiety.
wondering if, yeah, I'm wondering if
100%.
you have any like tips to get through for that.
Yeah, 100%. That's super, super normal. Part of it is just going to be, and I know it sucks, but just do it, essentially. The more you just get yourself comfortable using your voice in front of people, the more you'll actually, I'm just hiccuping a whole bunch. The more you'll actually become comfortable doing it. Part of it is just acknowledging that, yes, this is scary, and that's okay if it's scary. Part of it is just going to be normal things that you do to treat anxiety in general. So think about what people say in therapy. It's going to be acknowledge that it's valid that you're anxious about this, because this is kind of scary. You're using this whole new voice that's in front of other people. There's like a specific goal you're going for. So on some level, there's a judgment internal to you. You might be perceiving judgment from other people over whether they're perceiving you the way you're wanting to be perceived. There's lots of reasons for you to be anxious. So like, it's super valid, you know? So don't try to downplay how difficult it is, because it is difficult. And we shouldn't be trying to say that, oh, why am I like, it's difficult, and you should acknowledge that. And the next thing to be aware of is like, it is difficult and I can do difficult things. And, you know, I'm doing this entire thing where I'm changing my voice completely. Most people don't even know this exists. So like, acknowledge that it's difficult, and also acknowledge that you can do difficult things, and you're doing this thing that most people don't even know is possible. So yeah, you can do cool things. And then embrace that. Like, yeah, you can do cool things, and you're going to do this thing that's really difficult and really scary. And then just try to get yourself doing it and build yourself up. You could start off with just small groups of people that you know or feel comfortable with, and build up from there to people that you don't know quite as well, and just build yourself up. Also, just general things with anxiety. So like, you could give yourself a reward afterwards. Be like, hey, I freaking did that thing. I'm going to have a fucking hot chocolate now because I did awesome and I deserve a treat. Or whatever. You know, just like acknowledge how you just did something that was very difficult. Yeah. You could also have, be around people that will be supportive of you. So for example, if I say to chat right now, hey chat, send a whole bunch of supportive words into the chat right now for Corvina. Do that now, please. You'll, in a minute, hopefully, see a whole bunch of supportive words, if they are good at following instructions. There we go, we see some typing. So you're hopefully about to get a bunch of supportive words. Yeah, be around people that are supportive and want you to succeed. And then, yeah, I guess help them as well. Like, don't make it all about you. Try to be like, hey, let me help you with your voice as well, and have something mutual going on. Because then you have that, you're kind of pressuring yourself a little bit. You're having that pressure of like, hey, I need to use my voice because now it's helping both of us. So I use my voice and they use their voice, and we're helping each other. And make it just a bit more mutual, so that it's not just you and you feeling all the pressure. It's a bit more spread out, and everybody's like holding up the pressure together. How do those things sound?
That's really great advice, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you're super welcome.
Oops.
How do you feel?
I do have another question, but I want to.
Your internet is breaking just a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can still hear you, but just, yeah, if there is anything you're able to do there, then by all means do it. But you're still coming through, so carry on.
Another question, but I want someone else to go first if this has other questions.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I will make sure to come back to you. Yeah, you got this, Corvina, and you can do this. Okay, then. Would anybody else like to go next? Just speak next to go next. Just unmute your mic and start talking, and then you get to go next. Anyone else want a little bit of help with their voice? There is always the issue of I do these at the end, and then that means that a lot of people have had to go. I don't really know a different way I could do it. I think it's just long workshops, it is what it is. Give me a sec. Yeah, no worries. Lazy Nimrod.
Well, hey.
Hey.
I was just wondering how you hear my voice and what you think of it so far. I've only been doing it maybe a couple of months.
Okay, no worries. So first question is, what's the goal? Where are we trying to get to?
Trying to get to a more feminine voice, obviously.
Okay. Do we have anything more specific than a more feminine voice, or are we just at the level of feminine voice right now?
Nothing specific, no.
No worries. For everybody, it can be a good idea. It's totally fine if your initial goal is a more feminized or a more masculinized voice, but it's a good idea to have more specific goals as you go forward. Like, how bright do you want it to be? Look at like the different individual things. So think about like, where do we want the larynx height to be? Where do we want the where do I want for weight to be, and try to be more specific about it as you get better with those things. Okay, so, and I'm going to take you through that step by step. So, Mihoki, how do you feel about your larynx height? We'll start there.
I think it's about right.
Okay, how do you feel about your weight?
Not too sure how that feels. Still
Okay,
getting, I still often get lower down.
lower down, do you mean like more buzzy, or?
As in more of a, like more of a, my normal voice, like it is
Yeah,
now.
sure.
Instead of it being higher up.
Yeah, so I think you would be able to both. I think you could lighten a little bit more, and I think you could raise your larynx further if you wanted to. Obviously, all of these things is just depending on where you want to take it. So have a think about how you feel about these things, because I can also raise my larynx height higher. I just don't want to. So have a think about both of those things. You can go further on both if you would like to. Boo. How do you feel about your voice overall?
It's okay, but it could be better.
Okay, sure. So I think your main thing there is going to be focusing on those individual elements. Focus on the weight, the perceptual weight, okay? Does it sound too buzzy? Does it sound too light? Where do you want it to be on that scale? Have a play around with it. And make sure that you're capable of going buzzy and light, okay? So I want you to be able to go perfectly light like this, if you want to.
I can go
So
like
you can
that.
go wherever you want
No
to in
problem.
terms of that weight. And then also going as small as you possibly can. So if you can go this small, then you can go for any larynx height you want to. This is me for like a super small vocal tract size. But then obviously I settle at over here. Because this is where I
can
prefer my
get down
voice.
to a small circle tract like this.
I think you're mainly changing pitch there. So watch that you don't have a conflation between pitch and larynx height. Focus on that exercise, okay? So give me a big cheese, little cheese.
Yeah. Okay then.
Oh, you might need to change your sound settings. If you go into voice and video, go to your input sensitivity.
It's
set it
already
to,
turned off.
yeah. Your input sensitivity is definitely not right yet. You need to turn it onto manual and then set it all the way to the left.
Yeah, I have it on push to talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so just
Yeah,
press the button.
push to talk also works.
Yeah.
And then make sure underneath that you have your echo cancellation turned off and
Yeah,
your
done.
noise suppression set to none. Okay.
Yeah.
Big
Okay.
cheese, little cheese into the phonation test, into some talking. Your talking can be, why don't you tell me about what you've been up to today before the workshop?
So, let's try and think how you do it again.
Yeah, so it'd be
So, okay. Cheese,
cheese, and then you go into your talking.
cheese.
Make sure you stay in a whisper. Stay in a whisper.
Cheese.
Do you hear how, as you go to those brighter cheeses, those smaller cheeses, you're having a bit of phonation coming in? You're going from cheese, and then you're going cheese. I don't want any of that E coming in.
Okay.
I just want a pure whisper, okay? Good. And now bring it into the phonation test.
Latin is language as dead as they can be. First it killed the Romans, and now it's killing me.
Go to just normal talking. Just tell me about your day. So do the cheese exercise again, and then just tell me about your day.
Well, most of my day I've been working on my.
Sorry,
new
pause a
house.
moment. I didn't hear any of your cheeses there. I don't know if it's maybe a mic issue or...
Okay, let's try again.
Don't go super loud, just go close to your mic or something. something's going on with your mic. I'm not sure what, but something's going on because the sound's cutting in and out.
Is it? Okay, just give me a sec.
Check the echo cancellation. This sounds like echo cancellation to me. Could be noise suppression, but I think echo cancellation is what I'm hearing. It's a new setting they added when they did the big layout update in Discord. Your mic might also have a built-in noise suppression, which would be really annoying if it does.
How's that sounding better now?
Give me the cheeses. That's how I'll know.
Okay. Cheese.
Okay, that's better. That's better. Whatever you did fixed it.
Cheese. Yeah. So.
Pause real quick, just to make sure you're doing the phonation test properly. So I want cheese. Still a whisper. Cheese. Then the phonation test. Cheese. So we only bring that phonation in once we're going through that long cheese. All right? And I want you starting in a whisper for the start of that cheese and ending in phonation at the end of that long cheese. Okay? So cheese. Did you notice how you started in phonation there? You went cheese. I want cheese. So only bring your voice in halfway through that big cheese. So halfway through the long cheese, I should say. The long, small cheese.
Cheese.
We're also getting some phonation in there. Do you hear how you're going cheese? I don't want that E coming in. I just want cheese. Whispering like this. Do you have any of that phonation coming in? We also definitely have a mic thing because your little cheese there after the phonation was like panning in and out. Okay, for me specifically, because you're having some mic issues, I'm going to say send me a clip in the voice submission and I'll give you some feedback in there because I'm not quite sure. It's just very difficult for me to hear you because something's happening with your mic. I don't know what. You might have something built into your mic that's messing with us, which is very annoying, but some people do have mics that do that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you a voice clip later on.
Yeah, no worries. Potential things that I might have been hearing there is you might have some volume moving around. You might be going very quiet in the actual phonation test. So I want cheese, and then bringing it into a normal volume, okay? So make sure we're not going and then being really, really quiet, okay? Make sure that the whispers are quiet. But then when we go into actual phonation, we have this at normal volume, okay? Just ordinary conversational volume. Yeah, that's going to help you there. That was the main thing I heard. It was difficult to hear other things though. When you send me a clip, I want the full drill. I want the phonation test, just as I was doing it there, and then a sentence or two of just talking. Talk about anything, but I don't want you to be reading. I don't want it to be rehearsed lines. I just want talking off the top of your head. You can talk about your day. You can talk about what you're studying at the moment. You can talk about your job. Just talk about something. Don't give me like a rehearsed line, okay? That goes for all of you, by the way. Whenever you're practicing anything, you go through whatever drill it is, whether it's for cheeses, whether it's for pause, whether it's for pitch movements, for hills or trough. You're going to do that. And then you're going to go into just, you're going to do your drill and then you're just going to talk. You're not going to read. You're not going to do something rehearsed. As much as we all like heat from fire, I want you just talking. Because you'll notice when you read, you do a reading voice. And that's not what we're going for. We're going for just your voice. So conversational, okay? Just ordinary talking. Pick a topic and talk about that topic. If you're struggling, the always reliable one is just talk about your day, because every day is a bit different, so you'll have something to talk about. Yeah. Want to say something, but not sure where to start / begin. Just not sure if you do everything right. Trying to get more feminine voice. Yeah, Melissa, if you want, you can have a go next. Pick a job that you want to do, and I'll tell you if you're doing it right.
I'm just not sure if I do everything right, but so
Yeah, so
that.
which thing in particular? We have our larynx height stuff, we have our weight stuff.
Yeah, but just not sure if yeah, I can write it.
Yeah, so if you're not sure about in general, well, in general isn't a thing, but very specific things. So, so there's like two different drills that I've taught you to use in this workshop. If I go back to this.
Yep.
So, reminder, your process is you'll start off with your softies. So, are you doing your softies right? Yes or no? If you're not sure, this is your chance to ask me.
Yeah, well, I was not sure that's why I asked.
Yeah, so what do we reckon about our softies? Do you want me to check on those?
Yeah, I will try.
Yeah, sure. All right. I'm not going to give you a prompt. I'm just going to say, give me a softie.
Yeah.
We'll see how you do. Sounds pretty good. I think what we're doing there is a uvula trill. Now, uvula trills aren't even on that graph. They don't produce a huge amount of intraoral pressure. So they're decent, but we could do better. I would say move us towards the lip trill. That's my lips moving. Give that a go. I think that's a lip trill. It sounds a little odd, but I think it's fine. Is it your lips that are moving there? Yeah? Okay, that's fine then. Okay, your lip trills sound very similar to a uvula trill, but that's totally fine. You might have been doing a lip trill before then. So long as it's your lips that are moving, then that's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Don't go yet. Don't go yet. What about the weight / glottal quotient?
Not sure, but...
Have a go at the drill. So if we're feminizing, pitch off. If we're masculizing, pitch off.
Yeah, and that... give me example. Not sure about that one.
Yeah, so start off with a lower pitch and a really buzzy, fat, meaty voice, okay? I'm going to go over to my masculine or unmodified voice just to show you if it's like your first thing, okay? And then go into some talking, trying to hold that lighter weight. Okay, give it a go.
No, but...
Oh, you need to change your mic settings because your Discord is cutting you in and out. If you go over to, it's the same things I talked about with me, Huggy. Go into your user settings, scroll down to voice and video, and then in there you'll see input sensitivity. Set that onto manual and drag it all the way to the left. Perfect. And then below that you'll see echo cancellation. Turn that off, and just below that you'll see noise suppression. Set that to none. Okay. And let me know when you've managed that. So that'll be your input sensitivity set to manual, and then dragged all the way to the left. It should show as minus 100 decibels. And then the echo cancellation, the input, the noise suppression. I don't hear you, no. You might have set it all the way to the right, set it all the way to the left on the input sensitivity. So it'll show minus 100 decibels. Yeah,
Hello?
there you go. That's it. That's it. And
There,
then below that.
then you'll find it.
Yeah, and then
then
below
it's
that,
working.
the echo cancellation turned off.
Yep, everything is off now.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Okay, good. So, give me that pitch again.
Let's see. Oh, I lost my minute. Oh, it's wrong.
Yeah, so one thing I'm hearing in your voice is I think your voice sounds pretty hyponasally. So I'm hearing like a very stuffed nose kind of a sound. Do you just have a stuffed nose right now? Or is your voice pretty hyponasal?
No, it's not stuffed. No.
Not stuffed right now? Okay. So if you want this kind God, I'm bad at producing different nasalities. Hang on. Oh wait, if you put your like hand in front of your nose and talk, can you like feel air coming out?
Yeah, a little.
Yeah, because actually I'm thinking it's not hyponasality as I'm listening. It's hypernasality with loads of air coming through our nose as we talk. Okay, so it's very, very nasal. If you think of like the Charlie Brown adult thing.
This is me talking with like a simple, nasally kind of a voice.
We could also think of like a Minecraft villager.
This is me again talking with that really, really nasal kind of a voice. So if you go like,
you'll feel a big rush of air go through as you begin it. That's going to be that villager sound. So you might want to have a play of hypernasality. Sorry, of hypernasality, lots of nasality, as a separate thing. Have a play with that. You can look, nasality was one, you can just look it up on YouTube. There's loads of good tutorials. Yeah, that might be something to play with. Also, the pitch hill. So again, we'll start with a really heavy, buzzy.
Yeah.
Go for that first. And then bring it down again. Okay, but do you hear how we got buzzy again? So,
where we keep that lightness at the end of it, okay?
good. And give me some talking. Tell me about your day.
Hello.
Tell me about what you've been up to today.
Today, just walking outside.
Okay, we've gotten buzzy again. So, drill again, and then tell me about what you did outside.
Yeah. I was outside today.
So then our buzziness has come back through. So this is what you're going to practice, all right? Practice doing your drill. Listen to your voice at the end of it, and then try to carry that same lightness into your talking, okay? Really listen to where you get to that end point, and then carry it into your talking.
And do what I'm doing now, then,
Yes, and now you've got that buzziness back in. So drill, the drill was perfect. The drill was perfect. You did a really good drill. So just use that drill, listen to the end sound, and take it into your talking. And that's something you'll need to practice, okay?
Yep.
So I would say start here and focus on this, all right?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Good shit.
Yep.
All right, you have your homework.
Thank you.
I expect results.
Yeah, I'll try that. And can you send me the name, what to say to look on YouTube later in the chat or something?
Yeah.
I can use that for my reference later.
Specifically, it's hypernasality.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Fab. Okay, who would like to go next? Did we go for you, Lazy Nimrod? I don't remember. I feel like we didn't. Also, hell's yeah, Jargo, getting that screenshot from YouTube chat. And thank you, Darshan. Tells, yeah. Okay, if we don't have lazy Nimrod, oh, yeah, no worries, Melissa. Oh, Azalea. Azalea? Yeah, Azalea. Azalea. As in the flower? You can tell me. I have a small question. Do you think there's lost cases in voice training? Some people said to me my voice is so low / masculine, there is no way I'm going to be able to train it to go more feminine. That alone kind of kept me from even starting. Like the flower, Azalea. Yeah, awesome. It is rare that I meet somebody that even knows what an azalea is, so that's really cool. I'm a gardener in my main job, so that's cool. Sorry, I'm distracted by your name. It's a good name. Absolutely not. In terms of lost cases, no. You can prove that there are no lost cases. The only time when I'll say somebody could be a lost case is if they have some kind of medical condition that prevents them from doing something. And it will be like a big impact on their life. It will affect more things than just feminization. And you've probably, if you're at this stage in your life, as somebody who could be a lost case or a lost cause, you are almost certainly already speaking with speech pathologists and have the medical system actively in your life. And even those people, I would say, come to me still, get me in touch with your vocal pathologist, and I'll have a conversation with them in terms of what that person is capable of. If you think that you're just too masculine, you're not. That's not a thing, okay? Again, you can prove this because, can you swallow? If you can swallow, you can move your larynx, all right? I don't want you doing the swallow and hold thing, but if you can swallow at all, then you can feminize your voice, okay? Or masculize your voice, because you're doing the same thing. All right, or at least the larynx bit is doing the same thing. Also, can you yawn? Okay, if you can yawn, you can lighten your voice because yawning lightens your voice. So can you feminize your voice? You already do in your daily life. You just don't know it. Everybody does stuff that changes the gendering of their voice in small ways, or even in big ways, in different things that they do. They just don't think about it, okay? Every time you eat, you feminize your voice, you masculize your voice, and then you go back to normal. Every time you yawn, you feminize your voice, and then you masculize your voice, and then you go back to normal. You are not a lost cause. You can do this. I don't even need to listen to your voice to know that you can do this. The only case where I'd say that it might be a bit more iffy is if you have a medical condition, and you will have had some kind of diagnosis for that, because at some point in your childhood it will have been noticed, because that would have to be quite a serious thing to prevent you from doing this. So yeah, no lost cases, no lost causes. Yeah, the amount of change you can do is so much more than you think. Yeah. Really uplifting. Good. There's a lot of, frankly, BS that goes around about this sort of biological essentialism to do with voice, and none of it's backed up by data. I've challenged people that have said these sorts of things to present me any data, and all they can present is anecdotes. Okay, and anecdotes don't mean shit. That's not a study. That's not a paper. Okay, there is no data to show that shows people being incapable of changing their voice. There are just anecdotes of people struggling. And quite frankly, Ziana from Trans Voice Lessons, the most famous of us, in her own words, it took her 7 years, all right? Which is a very long time compared to most people. If she can do it, and she then produced a hyper feminine voice at the end of it, anyone can do it, all right? So, yeah. 100%. Anyone can do this. Do not fall for the dumb, cringe, biological essentialism that people spout, because they don't know what they're talking about, and most of them don't even know about the mechanics of all of it. Ask them what actually happens to change your vocal tract size. So that's what happens. Most of them don't even know the answer. Yeah. And hey, how can you know if you haven't even started yet? How could anybody possibly know how you're going to do if you haven't even started yet? Like, what the hell? What? Again, can you yawn? Can you swallow? If so, then you're already feminizing and masculizing your voice. Yeah. I could like hyper masculize my voice. Like if I go like super low larynx,
and then I go for okay, now I have like a really masculized voice right now. I'll even like drop a pitch a whole bunch. Now I have like a really masculized voice. Most people probably don't sound very much like this. This is like hyper masculine, okay? To a point where nobody really sounds like this normally. Maybe like Corpse Husband a little bit. So if I can do this with my voice,
and I can do this with my voice, then like I don't care how masculine you are to start with, you can go the whole range. Because if I can go to both extremes, then it doesn't matter where you started. You can go to both extremes, you know? So yeah, all of these things are possible. Okay, and then I'll go back to my normal. Deep Zara isn't real, she can't hurt you. Yeah, true. Yeah, hopefully that is enough to like prove to you that you can do this. Okay, would anybody else like some help with her voice? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. How can I help you?
I'm fine, to be honest.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't need any help. I'm not sure.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else want some help with their voice?
Can I go again?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I was wondering if I have a problem selecting my selecting is the wrong word. I have a problem selecting like my target voice. And like trying to find something that goes between like on one extreme you might have like a I'm sorry, I keep hesitating because I hear my own voice in the back of your thing.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Sorry.
tripping
But
me
yeah,
up, I'm
that's going to
sorry.
happen. I have to do that so that everybody else can hear you too.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Um,
It has to be that way, I'm afraid.
It's fine. So I have a problem with on one hand you might have like, you know, or like even in like a feminine sounding range you have like more deep, I guess, assertive maybe kind of voice. And like on the other hand you have like, you know, kind of the like, you know, bright or bubbly or whatever voice, and they don't exactly cohere like
Yes, usually what I'm
like you
thinking
don't
for that
necessarily have
bubbly kind of a
the
voice.
same qualities in the same voice.
I think your
And
internet's
I've
starting
been
to struggle.
having trouble like trying to decide what I want my voice to sound like, and it feels like I have to sacrifice like almost sacrifice emotions. Like I have to pick some sort of emotion,
Okay.
which like I know, like intellectually I know that's bogus. It's I've been having trouble like get the range while still like feeling like I have the same voice.
Okay, so just to repeat the question back, because you're having a couple of internet issues, just to make sure I got it.
Okay.
You're finding that as you try to feminize your voice, you're having an issue of things becoming a bit more lacking emotional depth, and you're struggling to communicate emotion as much with those with your modified voice. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Specifically that like if I manage to express one sort of emotion with my voice, if I try to express a different kind of it starts to sound like I have a different voice.
Right, okay. So what I'm typically thinking in this situation is things are probably going a bit monotonous and you're probably not super relaxed. My main advice here is just practice. As you keep practicing and these modifications become more and more second nature for you, you won't have to concentrate as much. And so you can have that greater emotional expression. Because if you imagine, if you're like focusing really hard on your voice, that's quite distracting. So literally your emotions are going to be a bit muted because you're focused. So you can try, just keep practicing and really like maybe up your practice regime. Go up to like 3 or 4 practices a day for like a couple of minutes each. You could also try doing some dedicated practice of like being more emotional. So like, wow, we could be like way more emotional. We could have like all of this excitement coming in and this could be really, really cool. Or we could be like feeling a bit anxious and stuff and kind of like not really, just having a bit of a struggle right now. And like, yeah, having that like hesitation in our voice. Or we could be like freaking like really freaking angry right now. And I struggle to like imitate anger because I don't get angry very much, but be like fucking angry right now. Fuck's sake, dog. I'm going to just imagine that my dog is being an absolute fucking nightmare right now. And I'm really annoyed because my fucking dog is fucking going nuts right now. And oh my fucking God. That's about as angry as I ever get. Try to just like it's going to be silly because I don't know if you have much acting experience, but that's all acting stuff, obviously. It doesn't need to be good acting. It just needs to be enough that your brain is like, oh, when I'm doing angry, I still have these modifications. When I'm doing sad, I still have these modifications. Excuse me. When I'm doing funny, laughing or whatever, I still have these modifications. So it's not, excuse me. It doesn't need to be a perfect emulation of you being angry. It just needs to be enough that your brain knows what's up, okay? And can make that connection so that when you get angry, you immediately get a reminder of like, oh, make sure a feminine voice is there, and then continue with being angry. It might make you not angry anymore, or it might, whatever emotion you're feeling, it might distract you from it. But as you keep practicing, that'll even out and it won't be much of an issue. So yeah, there's that element to it. There's also the monotony I mentioned earlier. Try to just move your pitch around freely. If you're struggling to move pitch, Mario theme is always a really good way to get out of that. So just bring in whatever drills you're doing and then ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Really good way to remind yourself what pitch sounds like, because everybody has that so drilled into their mind that like you can just, without even thinking about it, I could just go like ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba, and you probably had the next note play in your head automatically because it's so ingrained into everybody's minds. So all of those things can help you. And then just try to move more in pitch as you go talking, and just practice a little bit of moving your pitch all around the place as you do a few sentences of talking. And again, make sure it's not words that you're reading out, but you're just talking out loud, talking about whatever. And yeah, just practice moving that pitch around. Yeah, how do those things sound?
That is helpful, and I think like it will help with some things, but I think I might have misrepresented my problem. It's not
Oh, okay.
it's not so much that like my voice is like monotonous and I can't have emotions with it. It's more specifically that I'm sorry, this is hard to explain.
That's okay.
Like say for instance, I'm trying to like cycle in my head through like various like a celebrity or whatever with the kind of voice I'm thinking of. Sorry, it doesn't work. Okay, think of like a more like, you know, deeper, wavier, I guess, voice.
Yeah, like a voice
Maybe
more
with a
like
bit more
this, or
vocal
a
fry.
lower pitch.
And like that's its own thing. And then there's also like, you know, a clearer, brighter voice, maybe a bit more breathy, for instance. And I I can imagine, for instance, being like, you know, angry or sarcastic or whatever with the former voice, or being like, you know, uh, joyful or whatever with the second voice. Um, but I necessarily imagine being bright and happy with the former voice, and I can't necessarily imagine like being angry with the second voice.
Okay,
Does that explain the problem a bit better?
so just to recap to make sure that I didn't miss something in your internet cutting out issues, you're saying that is it that you're wanting to be able to do both a bubbly voice and like a deeper, like that kind of a voice, and you're struggling to maintain your same emotional variety in both different voices? It's like we have this kind of voice right now, we have that really bubbly kind of thing going on, and then we also have this much like lower pitch kind of a thing. We're a bit more stern, a bit more like potentially serious sounding, and you're struggling to have the same emotional variety in each different thing. Is that correct, or
It's a lot closer to it.
what am I missing?
The
What am I
actual
missing?
like, I'm not, is almost like I can't pick between the two, and I'm not necessarily trying to be able to do two different kinds of voices. It's that um
Like you
it's
don't know
like
which
the
one you prefer?
emotional range is what?
Is it like you don't know which one you prefer, or
Uh, that's a problem, but the main problem that I'm trying to get at is that like of the emotional range seems tied to one voice and the other half seems to the other. Um, and I need to figure out how to talk in such a way that like can honestly express the full emotional range.
yeah, sure. So to some degree, some of these things will change in partnership with our emotions. So if I'm feeling sad, I'm probably going to go a bit more monotonous and a bit lower pitch because I'm going to be more solemn. There's not going to be as much energy in my voice because I'm feeling sad and I'm just not moving things as much because I'm not feeling that way right now. You know, I'm feeling sad and I'm not, yeah. That could be that going on. Or if we're feeling happy, I could have a lot more going on with my voice. Things are really good right now and I'm feeling really good. And while I haven't had a huge change in like my overall voice, you can still hear how some things are different now. It's slightly more bubbly. It's not to the point of over here where we're like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Because I don't normally talk like this. That's not very typical for me. But like, yeah, if I'm feeling happy, I'm going to be a bit more like this. We've got a bit more pitch movement, a bit more energy into my voice. And yeah, so remember that different emotions are going to bring out different like expressions, and different things are going to be happening that will like move you on that. If we're calling it like a bubbly versus stern spectrum, like you're going to move around that spectrum to some degree. It's just a matter of how much are we moving. I would mainly be thinking, part of this might be because you're struggling to pick between the two, but like basically just pick one. And then if you turns out you don't like that one, switch over. Just go for something specific, practice using your voice with that specific thing so that you can bring out that emotional depth in that specific thing. Because usually what I'm thinking, if we don't have that full range of emotion and you're finding that your emotion is tied to a particular voice, then we may have some conflations coming in. Usually I'm going to be thinking pitch. Like none of the weight/glottal quotient should be affecting anything to do with emotions. none of the size/resonance should be affecting anything to do with emotions. But pitch will. So I'm leaning towards there being a pitch conflation. But there could be some other things as well. It could be really any of the stuff from this list, or maybe even some of the others. Wait, are we on the right one? No, there we go. Again, my screen is freaking out. Yeah, any of the stuff on this list could be a relevant factor. And this is not a complete list. There's obviously an infinite amount of things. So yeah, essentially pick a voice, practice that specific voice, and try to use that in as much of your life as possible, and you'll find those other emotions coming in on their own. Especially as you start using your voice full time, which obviously is scary, but once you start doing it and it becomes more automatic, you won't even be able to stop those other emotions coming into the same voice. So yeah, how does that sound?
That actually helps very much.
Yeah, good.
And I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think a large part of it for
understand
you
what
is just going to be
it's
try
not.
to stick with a stable voice. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're super welcome. You're super welcome. Fab. Okay, would anybody else like some help with their voice? Let's move us back to the just chatting screen because I realised I forgot to do that. Anyone else want some help with their voice? Speak next to go next. I see some typing, so I'll wait for that typing. I still have most of that tea left. It went cold and I forgot about it. It's weird drinking a ginger tea that's cold. It is a nice cup. It's actually my boyfriend's cup. It was bought for him for either Christmas or his birthday. Along with a bunch of like coffee shop pot things and like hot chocolate ones, which I stole many of. Love my hairstyle, thank you. This is a curled money piece with the colour pink. Hells yeah, I did my hair before the stream, so. Also, this is a new style that I'm trying, where the parting is like much more over here, and I've got like way more hair over here. I quite like it. Working on saving your hair long, so you can do more things with it. Hells yeah. Yeah, definitely grow your hair out. I'm lucky that I was already growing my hair out in like boy mode. Before I ever realized, like I was growing my hair out since I was like 8, before I'd ever thought about anything to do with gender. I just happened to already like long hair, so. All right, cool. Oh, I do see some typing. I'm waiting to make sure that everybody gets feedback that wants feedback on their voice. So if you're wanting feedback right now, just start talking. And I'll give you some feedback. And obviously any questions about anything relating to voice, do let me know in the chats. You want even longer hair now? It's crazy. You got super long hair, Leona. This is about as long as my hair is able to get. I guess if it wasn't curled, it'd be like, I don't know, down to like hairish maybe. Sort of middle of my boob. But yeah, this is about as long as mine gets. Oh, see Leona. You feel like you have a problem, but you're not sure what you've done. Oh, you think you have a problem, but you're not sure what. You've done many voices for a while and feel like you understand a lot about impressions and molding your voice, but you feel like you need someone to tell you if you're doing something wrong. You also feel like you struggle with terminology and how it looks for you in practice. So, by all means, if you're down to be on stream, then unmute and I'll have a little listen to your voice. But mainly, what I'm hearing from you is that you need to be looking at specifics. So, Don't worry about whether it sounds fem or masc. Think about where's the quotient at, or the vocal weight, whatever word you want to use there. That buzziness, how buzzy does it sound? Or that brightness, how bright does it sound?
Okay, so this is my regular voice, no changes. And then, so if I bring it up like this, is this like something?
I haven't heard
Like
any. So those two changes there I didn't hear much of. I think I did hear a bit of a pitch movement though. So there's possibly a bit of a conflation.
Something like this. I move this up and I'm like, I feel like I struggle with exactly like what
Yeah.
I'm like missing for it.
Use for drills. Use for drills. So just start off on a weight drill. Okay. Use that pitch hill.
Weight drill. So.
Were you here during the weight section? Sorry, I can go back over that if you need me to. So for the weight drill, I'm looking at. Oh, did we just lose someone?
Yeah.
Oh, you're still there. That's fine then. Boop. So if I take us over to here, boo, 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 boo. So yeah, the pitch hill, where we're going to be starting with a really low pitch, not like really low pitch, but a lower pitch with a really buzzy voice. So like if I bring things back to my unmodified, and then we're going to slide for weight. Sorry, we're going to slide the pitch up. And as we go up, we're going to try to lighten. All right. Then once we get that light weight, we'll drag that down to a normal pitch and try to talk with that lightness. Okay. So the full drill will sound like this. You need to change your settings real quick.
Yeah.
Can you go into your voice and video settings?
Yeah, that's I hate Discord sometimes.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So it's your input sensitivity, it's your echo cancellation, and it's your noise suppression.
That should be everything.
Now it's everything.
No, it's not the fan.
Okay, go again.
So something like this? Did that
Take it down to your normal pitch. You might. It sounded like you ran out of breath there. Just take another breath if you need to. And make sure you take that same sound going into your talking. Okay.
Okay. Like this, something like. Did I don't know if I hit the normal voice.
Yeah. So you're like, so you said yeah like this. Your was really light, and then as soon as you said like this, you brought that heaviness back into it. So it was like
yeah.
I had to prefer yeah like this, and then you had that weight coming back into it. So try to practice this a whole bunch, and try to really keep that lightness as you go into your through your talking. Okay, make recordings, review those recordings, and also try to analyze it in real time as well. But yeah, this is what I recommend you starting with. Play with that weight / glottal quotient. You can use whatever term you want to use. Weight is what most people use because it's more intuitive. I don't care if you call it lightweight or open quotient or just unbuzzy, whatever you want to say. But yeah, go through that drill. Really listen to that last sound that you make. So like the really listen to it so that you can be like and then I'm taking that into some talking. Okay, so try to keep that in your voice as you then go into talking some words. All right, and try to have it sounding as close to the same as possible. Okay.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. practice that a whole bunch, come back to me next week. Also, if you head to my Discord server, then you'll be able to submit clips, and it would be good to hear clips from you as you practice this. Sick. Anybody else? No one else. Okay, sounds like we got through everyone then. Speak next to go next if you are wanting to have a go. But I do not see anyone unmuting, so I'm guessing that's us finished off. So, firstly, if you have enjoyed this, if you've benefited from this, and you'd like to support more of these workshops happening, then heading over to the Ko-fi is the best place for that. I really appreciate everybody that supports us financially, and if you want to be a part of that, then I would super appreciate that. www.ko-fi.com/transnetwork. Super appreciate that. Also, YouTube. We are desperately trying to expand the YouTube, so I'll be able to do more things for you guys. youtube.com/@trans_network. Get subscribing, get viewing those videos, and get that algorithm going. If you really want to help the channel and you do not have the money to financially support, something that's really helpful is just watching the videos, like watching the live streams, even if you're watching it like after the fact. Something that is genuinely really helpful, and I've noticed that since a few people have started doing it, just a couple of people started doing it, and it has made a massive difference. Like, our average viewership has gone up by like 100 from me asking people to do this once. So if you want to help out, then it sounds crazy, but go onto the playlist, voice workshops. When you go to bed, just turn it on. If you're using a phone, like, just put the speaker down, or if you're using your computer, just turn a speaker down. Don't change the volume on the YouTube player, just do it with your actual device. And then leave it running all night, and it'll tell YouTube that, wow, people are really interested in this content, they're watching the whole thing, and they're even staying for more. So it then pushes it out to more people, because it's like, oh shit, this is some fucking awesome content. People are sitting here for like 4 hours. So yeah, if you really want to help the channel, but you can't financially support us, just playing the playlist genuinely helps. I can't state how much that helps. And like, I've noticed a huge difference since some people have started doing that. So yeah, genuinely, that would help so much. Also, if you just want more things for you, hells yeah, you can join my Discord where we do a whole bunch of stuff. We have the lessons that you can sit on. Those are also, all the stuff on the Discord is also on the YouTube, apart from like for me active in the moment stuff. So lesson shadowing you can do. We have a makeup workshop you can do. That's once a month. And we have obviously all of my voice workshops. You can also just hang out with me, hang out with the community. We have an awesome community, so that's really cool. And if you want it, I also do lessons. So my private lessons are £20 per lesson. My public lessons are completely free. So yeah, if you want lessons, if you want just straight up free, like full on lessons, then head over to my Discord and sign up. You're looking for a one-on-one lessons channel where you get to open a ticket, and then that's how that then works. And there's a little info channel above that if you wanted to just read up first. But hells yeah. Is there anything I've missed that I'm supposed to be plugging? People that are in my community know me. Did I miss anything, or did I get it all? Also, I should be moving to here. Oh, we do live streams just generally. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1 till 5 BST. We have we just have ordinary live streams where I hang out with chat. I will sometimes do gaming stuff. Sometimes I'll go through, so like we went through the whole Supreme Court document. It's changed a bunch of stuff for the trans girlies over in the UK. That was good fun. And also that's when all the shadowboard lessons happen. So the public lessons happen during the live stream hours. Cool. Oh shit, yeah, the giveaway. Lol. I'm also doing a giveaway right now. So if you're wanting lessons, if you're wanting private lessons, but you can't afford them, completely valid. Just be in the YouTube chat. The more you're in YouTube chat, you are passively earning points as you talk. You need to be active in chat. You can't just be lurking, because otherwise the bot can't recognize you. So you need to be talking. Yeah, if you're hanging out in chat, then yeah, you'll passively earn points. I do also do occasionally, I'll do a little raffle. We haven't done one yet, so let's, for people in the YouTube, if you head to the YouTube chat right now, you'll get some bonus points. We'll do a 200 point raffle. So yeah, if you're wanting, sorry, I'll explain the rest of the giveaway and then I'll do a raffle. Yeah, giveaway, you're gonna earn points just passively, as well as me doing random raffles and stuff and things for you to earn more points. Then on May the 28th, you'll be able to cash out those points. Every 100 points equals 1 ticket in the giveaway. The more tickets you have, the higher your odds of winning. So hells yeah, head over to a stream. The prize is 6 free private lessons with me. That's valued at £120. Yeah, you get a package of 6 free private lessons with me. So yeah, be in chat, and you could be that lucky winner. Hells yeah. Okay. Also, go to chat right the heck now, because I'm going to do a 200 point giveaway for one random person. Okay. Exclamation mark join in the YouTube chat, and then you'll be able to join in the raffle. Anything else I'm supposed to be plugging? I think that's everything. Also, if you use exclamation mark giveaway, you'll get information on the giveaway in the YouTube chat. I have a channel that in the server that goes into it in a bit more detail. If you have questions about it, do ask them to me. I think that's everything. I think I did all the things. Oh yeah, also chatbot is reminding us all to drink water. Make sure you drink water. Hey Darshan, congrats. Darshan just won the 200 giveaway points. Okay, I think that's everything. I can't think of anything else that I'm supposed to be plugging. We have the Ko-fi if you want to support us financially. We have the YouTube if you want all the YouTube videos. If you want to help support the YouTube and build that up, it's the usual stuff. Like for videos. It's all live streams right now, but I'm going to have some actual videos coming out. But even liking and commenting on the live streams helps as well. So like, comment, share, all of those things to help build up some support. And if you want to go to the extra effort, play the playlist overnight and just leave it running as you sleep. That shit like is genuinely really, really helpful. The algorithm just, it loves that. So yeah, you'll be helping to spread the teachings for everybody. And yeah, okay. I think that's everything. I'm very tired, which is why it's a little bit chaotic right now. Oh yeah, Discord. Head to the Discord. That's where you can actually get lessons and giveaway. And okay, that's all the things. I'm going to bed. Thank you all so much for being here. Huge thank you. Hey, thank you, Talia. I really appreciate you doing that. Yeah, thank you all so much for coming. We do these every single week, so make sure you come by next week. And hells yeah, you're super welcome, Lismara and Corvina. You're super welcome. Fuck yeah, I love doing these workshops. Okay, I think that's all the things. I think it's time to finish up the workshop. Have a good time zone, everyone. Hells yeah. All right, heading over to OBS. YouTube, goodbye. Thank you all so much for being here. YouTube is super helpful for you to be promoting, so thank you for doing that. The next YouTube thing will be on Monday. You can come by for our live stream. The Monday live stream, we're going to be helping me do social media things. So I'm going to make a Blue Sky account tomorrow. I'm going to make, I guess I'll make an Instagram. And maybe there's other things I should be making. I don't even know. So I will rely on you guys to tell me, one, what the heck I should be making, and we can make some of them while we're there, and I'll just do it off screen. And you guys can help me figure out how to can use social media. I never had Twitter, so I don't really know what I'm doing with Blue Sky. So you guys can help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with that. Yeah, that's a plan for Monday. And we also have a Shadow Ball lesson happening as well. So yeah, head over at 1 o'clock BST for that as the next YouTube event. Okay, bye YouTube. I love you lots. Thank you so much for coming. And have a good rest of your Saturday. Okay.